way of doing it, much better.
When those tariffs would lead to higher prices here at home.
Oh, I think what's going to go up is jobs are going to go up, and prices could go up somewhat short term, but prices will also go down.
Most economists say the tariffs would amount to a tax increase on American consumers. Linda Kenyon, CBS News, the White House.
Robert F. Kennedy Jr. was sworn in today as the nation's new health secretary.
Congratulations, Mr. Secretary.
During the ceremony, Kennedy accused the nation's health institutions of stealing the health of American children and suggested they should meet the same fate as USAID, which has been targeted by administration cuts. Linda McMahon faced some tough questions today at her confirmation hearing to be education secretary. That's a department Trump has said he'd like to get rid of. CBS's Nicole Killian is on Capitol Hill.
She was asked several times about whether the Department of Education would be abolished. She wanted to be clear in saying that education would not be defunded, but this was about making the department more efficient.
Mass firings have already begun at the Education Department. Many federal workers took the proposed buyout from the Trump administration. White House spokeswoman Caroline Leavitt.
75,000 people accepted the buyout program. That's going to save millions of dollars for the American taxpayers, and that's exactly what we want.
The White House has warned federal workers who did not take the offer that they aren't guaranteed a job. This just in, a federal judge has paused Trump's order aimed at restricting gender-affirming health care for transgender youth. The top prosecutor in Manhattan has resigned after being ordered to drop corruption charges against Mayor Eric Adams. Two Justice Department officials who worked on corruption cases also quit. Legal analyst Lori Levinson.
They are quite concerned that the new administration is not going forward on cases where there is the evidence, but for political reasons, they want to drop the case.
Dangerous rain totals are in the forecast in parts of California hard hit by the recent wildfires. Los Angeles Mayor Karen Bass.
City crews have installed concrete barriers and sandbags to stop mud flows. The fire department has pre-positioned swiftwater rescue and urban search and rescue teams.
Some areas could see 3 to 10 inches of rain. This is CBS News.
Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all your car care needs. Get the parts and service you need fast from the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Now from Minnesota's radio station, let's get you caught up with Minnesota's latest headlines and biggest stories on News Talk 830 WCCO.
Mostly sunny, 7 degrees at 3:03. I'm Laura Oakes. Potential candidates for Tina Smith's U.S. Senate seat have been quick to surface today in the wake of her announcement that she will not be seeking re-election. Smith says it's a personal decision, not motivated by politics. But KSTP TV political reporter and WCCO radio host Tom Hauser says polling may show otherwise.
Tina Smith has a problem in that her number of people who have no opinion of her is alarmingly large for someone who's been in office since 2018.
Hauser telling WCCO's Chad Hartman he believes there's a better than 50-50 chance that both Governor Tim Walz and Lieutenant Governor Peggy Flanagan will run for Smith's seat. Flanagan has already announced her intention to do so, as have a handful of others. Small businesses at 50th and Penn in southwest Minneapolis are dealing with an expensive mess today after a water main burst overnight.
It happened early this morning, displacing residents, damaging properties, and temporarily closing a handful of businesses. But one among them is still open, the Scuba Center located along Penn Avenue. Owner Larry Freeman.
Our entire basement had like just about 4 feet of water in it, so all of our merchandise in the basement is destroyed. And so, and it's, we're just getting it cleaned up now.
So far, it's unclear how long that cleanup will take. He says the best way to help the affected businesses is by visiting them once they reopen, particularly the Lake Harriet Florist, which he says was set to go into their busiest time of year this Valentine's Day weekend. In Minneapolis, I'm Taylor Rivera, News Talk 830 WCCO.
And it's also not yet clear why it took nearly 4 hours to turn off the gushing water after the burst was reported around 3:30 this morning. A Minneapolis City Council proposal to transfer the city's violence interrupter program to Hennepin County has been indefinitely postponed. This comes after a heated debate over the program's funding today. Councilmember Robin Wansley withdrew the original proposal, but not before expressing her distrust in the Department of Neighborhood Safety.
Do you truly feel confident that this city, this department can actually effectively run these programs and keep our residents safe? I will be expecting NSD leadership to make presentations on their plans to run these programs and to basically do your work.
For now, the city will remain in charge of the program that targets youth and gang violence. Well, it's one of those days each year when you know we're turning the calendar towards spring, even if it doesn't feel like it outside. Minnesota Twins pitchers and catchers are reporting for spring training in Fort Myers, Florida today. President of Baseball Operations Derek Falvey talking payroll. Place Falvey says the Twins continue to lead by example in the AL Central Division.
The investment in this team has been very consistent, and even in just the last week to 10 days, an ability to push us up a little bit further, add some guys to the team that are only going to make us better. As we sit here today, we have to go prove it. We have to go earn it.
The Twins play their first spring training home game on the 22nd against the Braves, and you can hear it right here on WCCO Radio. It is 3:06 on CCO.
Now on CCO, let's do traffic and weather together. First, a check of the drive and what shape the roads are in.
Well, the road's in fairly decent shape, but we do have a crash working 494 northbound near 49th Avenue. The activity off to the right side. Your slowdown starting up prior to Rockford Road. 94 northbound out of downtown Minneapolis, running at the posted speeds as you come out of the tunnel, heading up toward Highway 252, East 36. Watching some slowing there, Snelling, heading out toward Dale Street. Jerry Peterson, News Talk 830 WCCO.
Looking for senior living options? Jordana here. I invite you to check out award-winning New Perspective Senior Living. With 10 communities in the Twin Cities Metro, they offer you a friendlier approach to senior living. Call 888-229-2298, 888-229-2298.
Forecast time with an update on current conditions and a quick look at what's ahead the next few days.
Brought to you by New Perspective Senior Living. Here's WCCO TV Chief Meteorologist Chris Schaefer.
Afternoon. We have a brief warm-up on the way, but it comes at a cost. Clouds increase tonight, falling back to zero. Light snow should start falling by afternoon. We could see 1 to 3 inches in the Twin Cities, better chance of 2 to 4 as you hop across the St. Croix into western Wisconsin. 24 the afternoon high. However, the wind will pick up from the southeast, making it feel cooler. Cloudy and 22 Saturday, back to the single digits for highs Sunday through next week.
Mostly sunny right now, 7 degrees at News Talk 830 WCCO.
If it's important to you, it's on News Talk 830 WCCO. Buckle up. Time for the ride home and the chance to get caught up on the day's news, plus whatever else he wants to riff on. This is Drive Time with DeRusha.
Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention, please?
Here's the star of the show and your host, Jason DeRusha.
Are you ready? All right.
Now live on your radio and streaming to the world at WCCOradio.com and the Odyssey app. Here's Jason DeRusha.
Does anyone believe that Tina Smith is really stepping down from her position, at least deciding not to run again as a U.S. Senator because she wants to spend more time with her grandkids? I mean, I'm sure grandkids are great, but really? Really? Welcome to Drive Time on a seismic day in Minnesota politics as we watch so much drama play out. DFLers, including the governor and the lieutenant governor, both considering running for the soon-to-be open U.S. Senate seat, Republicans lining up to be considered. All of this happening within the last, 6-7 hours or so? Pretty incredible. We want to get right away to Morning Take, Sunday Take host here on CCO Radio, political analyst and insider Blois Olson. Blois, do you believe this grandkid stuff?
I actually do, Jason.
Come on. That's what everyone says.
Nope. Wait, just take your personality off for a sec. Here's the deal. Tina Smith, who I've known for 29 years, was always an operative. She was chief of staff to R.T. Ryback. She was a consultant. She was chief of staff to Governor Dayton. She never envisioned herself being a candidate. She became the lieutenant governor, and then she got appointed to the Senate and had run. Why? Because she was the best person to hold that seat once Franken resigned. I don't know that she ever had on her bucket list to be a U.S. senator. So, by the way, once you have a couple grandkids and you didn't want to be a U.S. senator, you might go, yeah, I want to get on with things. So I actually do believe she does want to find a different
I
way to
admire it.
wind
I
down
mean,
life.
she is 66. Senator Amy Klobuchar is 64. There is a next generation, and I think a hunger in Minnesota to see who are those next generation of leaders going to be. And so stepping away, I admire it. I do. But the scramble going on today has been quite something. What do you make of the potential drama of Governor Tim Walz running for this seat and running in a primary against Lieutenant Governor Peggy Flanagan, who has said she has basically said she's running?
Yes. So this just confirms a couple things. One is that the rift in the lieutenant governor still remains and is real, because otherwise that would be a orchestrated answer.
Work it out, right? Yeah.
Well, it would already been orchestrated. Here's the thing. This will be a morning take tomorrow. There is Lieutenant Governor Flanagan and Senator Smith have a very close comrade of advisors. They share several close personal friends and advisors. The idea that Peggy Flanagan was ready to say, I'm running, and Tim Walz didn't, tells me that Peggy Flanagan knew before Tim Walz and was ready to go. That tells me that there is still this rift, that they don't know what they're going to do about it. And by the way, remember, Peggy Flanagan said just a few months ago, well, I'd run for governor if I'm the lieutenant governor who gets elevated. So she's already started to think about this. Here's the second thing to think about. Tim Walz's personality, as we've learned over the years, is he's not always super decisive. So the idea that his people didn't have a quick answer, now granted it's going to change the legislative session, but B, that he's like, well, and the Wall Street Journal is now writing, he's trying to decide whether he's going to run for a third term of the U.S. Senate. He doesn't need to answer it today, but it fits his profile of kind of waiting things out or being decisively indecisive, as I'd like to say.
Blois Olson with us. Do you really see a scenario where those two run against each other, or if Walz decides he wants to run, does Flanagan run for governor? How do you think this really shakes out?
I don't see a scenario where they run against each other. They have different pluses and different minuses. Flanagan is more likely to get the party endorsement. Walz can raise major national money.
Right.
But if they run against each other, that divides the party. And the party is not going to want to be divided in a governor's race. Democrats coveted the governor's office. They made a very clear intention of trying to recapture it or capture it and hold it after Dayton was governor. They're going to covet it again because you see how much power the governor has on policy. So I think they'll figure out a way to work it out. But other names to think about, you have Erin Murphy, who ran against Walz for governor. She had the endorsement last time. You have Steve Simon, who's won multiple times statewide, the biggest vote getter for Democrats. He's the Secretary of State.
Pretty
He has a
popular,
national following.
generally speaking.
Very popular.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I
not a
think it's
flamethrower, not a hard core lefty, which, trying to get elected in this state right now. I mean, Tim Walz has 52% approval rating and Donald Trump has 47% approval rating. It sort of tells you where Minnesota is, right?
Yeah. And I told Vanita last week when the KSTP poll came out that Tina Smith only had a 25% unknown score, and she was under 50%. And that's where Republicans are going to start to see some vulnerability. So there was some electoral reality in it too. Yeah. I think she probably would have won re-election, but her getting out of the race opens the race for more Republicans to think about it.
So the Republicans are fired up today, Blois Olson, and I love your feedback at 651-461-9226, who you would like to see run. But already a handful of Republicans, this is how they do it, right? It's like, well, I'm considering, and you tell a couple reporters, and then it gets out there. But State Senator Julia Coleman, whose father-in-law is Norm Coleman, who held that seat. Karen Housley, who has run some close but not close enough statewide campaigns. She ran for Senate before. And then Maple Grove's Kristen Robbins, the state representative who is running the fraud committee right now in the House for Republicans. She is considering. Any other names that you're hearing?
I think you have to look at the congressional delegation: Stauber, Finstead, Emmer, Fishbach. They'll get a lot of pressure to run. The thing to watch for on the Republican side is who they'll give each candidate some time to raise some money to get something up and running. And then the piece is, who does Trump endorse? Who becomes the Trump candidate? I heard Chad mention Pete Hegseth potentially moving back and running. I think that's more of a long shot, but think about it in those terms of how Trump's influence on that candidate. Because, by the way, that is not just the party then falling in line, that is money falling in line. And if this seat was not on the board of swing seats for the Senate next year, this now means Democrats and Republicans are going to spend money in Minnesota that they didn't expect to spend, 2, 3, 4 months ago.
Do you expect, and already I've had messages from people saying, stand by, I know someone who's going to announce in March and this sort of thing. I just wonder if there's a business person or something that maybe is outside of the realm of the normal names that we all think about.
Maybe, but that's been flirted with in Minnesota many times. And when wealthy people have tried to run for office on either side of the aisle in Minnesota, they are not as well received.
Yeah.
Now, it's a different
We don't
era,
like rich
it's a
people
different time.
running for office in this
We don't like people, unless your name is Dayton, using your own money to run for office.
Yeah.
But I think there's a lot of names out there. I mean, our friend Adam Platt texted me. He goes, I remember you telling me she wasn't going to run. Well, I had been convinced by others in the last month that based on her activity and her travel, that Senator Smith was going to run again. So it's fluid. And by the way, we have 627 days, not that you're counting, until the general election of 2026.
It's so long, and so we could see people come, we could see people go. But to me, the big headline of the day is truly how the state DFL party has this personality conflict or this disarray. The fact that you would have the lieutenant governor jumping in and the governor still sort of dithering a little bit to decide, am I doing that? Am I running for office again? It's there's going to have to be a come to Jesus moment for those two, I would think.
There is. I mean, the first question I ask on the Democratic side is, what does Walz do? That will then dictate some of the other moves and some of the other races.
Is Flanagan electable in a statewide race? She is considerably more progressive than Tim Walz at least has been as a candidate.
She has a lot of support from progressives. One of the things that happened in 2024 was the most progressive members did not show up for Kamala Harris. They did not show up in Minnesota. And so Democrats know that they have to turn out progressives in Hennepin and Ramsey County to win statewide. It's a calculation. One of the reasons why Walz picked Flanagan was to protect him from progressive critiques. And so it's way too early to know whether or not she's too progressive or not progressive. It is really there's never one thing. I say that all the time.
It's so smart,
it's money,
boys.
It's momentum.
But that point, I really want people to remember that, because the people like Chad or me or the sort of middle moderate people who desire that, that's not necessarily a recipe for winning.
Not in the party primary.
Right. And even in the general, if you need the progressives to come out, maybe it's not about appealing to the most of Minnesota. Maybe the new electoral strategy is simply bringing out your base at the highest percentages possible.
That's how Tim Walz won in 2018. It was a very intentional strategy of Ken Martin, and you'll see it. The other thing to watch, just because we don't have enough, is a lot of Democrats and Republicans want to get rid of the caucus system and move to a June primary rather than August primary. If you move up a primary in a governor's race and a Senate race, then it's all things to themselves, because there's no predictable model for an early primary, which attracts a lot of money early and a lot of money late. And you know who's happy right now? Media salespeople, because this race just got competitive and they're going to get some ad buys.
Yes. Really good. Great stuff, Blois. Thank you so much. Make sure you subscribe to the Morning Take from Blois, because there'll be more insight for you there tomorrow morning. 3:20. What do you think? Who do you want to run? Any of those names that Blois floated? Anybody excite you on that? 651-461-9226. I've got some thoughts when we come back.
Don't touch that dial. More Drive Time with DeRusha coming up on News Talk 830 WCCO.
Financial advice should be holistic and tailored to your life. I'm Ryan Antkowiak, financial advisor with Baird Private Wealth Management and the president of the Financial Planning Association of Minnesota. At Baird, we provide investment and financial planning advice for all areas of your life: family, retirement, estate planning, and charitable giving. Plus, we coordinate with your tax and legal advisors to ensure you have one comprehensive financial plan that makes sense for you. Discover the Baird difference. Visit BairdTwinCities.com.
If only there was an easy guide to follow to sell your home for thousands of dollars more than you otherwise could. Oh, wait, there is. Hey, it's Vanita. You've been hearing me talk about my buddy, the Good Neighbor agent, John Schuster of the John Schuster Group, Coldwell Banker Realty. Those home sellers forums that I've told you about that really work. Scott and Renee went to one and followed John's blueprint for success. There are 5 different marketing options for you to choose from, and all of them work. Scott and Renee really benefited from them. Their home sold for more than $10,000 over the asking price. Trusting the John Schuster Group was the right decision for them. He knows what he's doing. His team, they know what they're doing. Contact John for full details. 952-222-9000. Online, johnschustergroup.com.
Buy a home, sell a home, we'll get you moving. johnschustergroup.com.
Terms and conditions may apply.
What's your love language? Maybe it's letting your loved one sleep in for a full night's sleep, or giving someone the gift of being pain-free. Whatever it is, Mini Leaf has your perfect Valentine's Day gift. You can give the gift of being pain-free and have better sleep and a whole lot of fun. Check out minileaf.com, MINNELEAF.com. Minileaf is the home of Minnesota's best legal products. I use these products. I would not recommend them to you if I didn't. Mark has used them. We have both experienced the benefits from the Triple Diamond Pain Cream. It's such relief. And also those Sleep Night gummies, the best night's sleep I have had in a while. No pharmaceuticals needed. Check out the true benefits of CBD. You can see they're 100% natural, Mini Leaf's products, and you can look at the studies on the website. Minileaf.com. MINNELEAF. Tell them Jordana sent you.
Mini Leaf means quality. Taste happy at minileaf.com.
The home of Minnesota's best legal products.
Seems everything costs more these days. Gas, groceries, and when's the last time you checked your wireless bill? Yikes. When it comes to big wireless, if you're staying, you may be overpaying. Here's how to get the same fast, reliable nationwide coverage without the big wireless bill. Switch to Consumer Cellular. Plans start at just $20 a month, and that's not a short-term promo. Our U.S.-based experts will get you switched and saving in about 20 minutes. Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com and start saving today. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing.
The following heartwarming yet informative scene is brought to you by Trust and Will.
Son, your grandpa and I used to work on this car together, and when I'm gone, I want you to have it.
Wow. Thanks, Dad. Doesn't count. What you need is a will. Luckily, Trust and Will makes it easy. Designed by attorneys, but customized by you, you can easily create a state-specific, legally valid document that actually counts. Now, let's let the engine do the talking, am I right? Start your will at trustandwill.com. Use offer code COUNT for 10% off and make it count. Trust and Will is an online estate planning service. For details, see trustandwill.com.
Drive Time continues on the roads and on your radio. News Talk 830 WCCO.
Hey, we're live on YouTube and Facebook as well, streaming live. Give a shout out to Jeff Holt, Jonathan, hanging out in the comment sections on YouTube and on Facebook. So you just go to youtube.com/WCCO radio or just search WCCO radio, and you'll see like a live broadcast, and just click on it, and you can see what the studio looks like. So we're trying to get the show wherever you are. So if that's video, great. If you're listening on AM or on the HD signal on FM, that's 1029, right? HD2.
Correct.
And then another place you can listen to the show is if you're over at the Minneapolis Club. You're just hanging out at the Minneapolis Club.
Yeah, some people get lunch invites over there, I hear. I don't know personally, but
tomorrow I'm going over to the Minneapolis Club to shoot a video for them. And I just got a list of things that they would like us to show in the video. And then you could tell me which of these you would like to be in.
Sure. Okay.
The reading room with the newspaper by the fire.
Oh, do I get to bring like a pipe, And
yep.
Oh, that'd be good. Yeah.
Sitting on a swivel chair at the bar at Charlie's.
I'm not really a bar guy, but
Playing the piano in the Rose Room.
I know exactly one song on the piano.
What's that?
Home Sweet Home by Motley Crue. I can play that.
Really?
Oh yeah, I can play that lick. That's it.
I can play Happy Birthday.
All right.
I can play When the Saints Go Marching In, because I took piano lessons from like 4th through 6th grade.
Riot at parties.
Oh, big hits. How about the squash chords? Do you want to play squash?
Nope. I'd definitely
lift weights at the fitness center.
Also would definitely injure myself. Yeah. No.
Other clips they want, the steam room or the sauna.
Definitely
How about you and me sitting in the sauna at the Minneapolis Club?
Zero chance.
All right. Fair enough. Maybe I'll invite you at another day.
Okay.
651-461-9226. We are talking about some of the names that have been floated. Now, I will say I am glad that on the Republican side, that state senator, Julia Coleman, is, she's doing the bit, right? Caroline Cummings, our friend from Channel 4, said State Senator Coleman, Republican Waconia, confirms that she is also considering a bid. So they do this is the funny thing about being a politician, right? Because you can't just come out. Wouldn't it be amazing if somebody just came out and said, you know what? It would be killer to be a U.S. senator. I absolutely am interested. Instead, it's like, Julia says, well, I'm going to talk to, I'm considering it. I'm going to talk to my family. I'm going to talk to Minnesotans. Like, what does that mean? Anyway, you guys know I've said it before. I think Julia Coleman is a very interesting, young, up-and-coming Republican. She's a new mom, has put forth bipartisan legislation, which is almost impossible to do in the Minnesota legislature. So I think she's a staunch conservative, and I think she will be a very interesting candidate. Now, is she too young? Are we going to play you got to earn your shot game? I don't know. I hope not. Who cares? Frankly, I think if we could get a couple of young people running in here, some people in their 30s, great. I'm all for it. It's time, right? We have 2 U.S. senators, both in their 60s, and these 2 are like the young ones of the U.S. Senate, Senator Klobuchar and Senator Smith. So I'm intrigued by that. I have not heard anything from Melvin Carter in St. Paul, and maybe it's because you think he might have more interest in being governor versus being a senator. But I think those are pretty interesting. Texters, I want Dean Phillips. I don't see any circumstance in which Dean Phillips runs, because Dean Phillips wants to build the infrastructure for a third party in America. And being one of 100 U.S. senators as an independent, I don't think that gets Dean Phillips any closer to what he says he wants. So to me, it seems like a no-go. Let's see what Mark on the CCO Talk and Text line has to say. Mark, thanks for listening. Who would you like to see run?
Well, I'd like to see Emmer run, but I think Al Franken will be the guy that runs for the Democrats. I think he's always getting me and Toot out of that seat.
Yeah, you know the Democrats are going to want to trot Al Franken back out. 73 years old.
Yep.
He's
that's
hard.
like 20 in Washington years.
I have to say, I do not understand the Al Franken obsession. He, I think, was an effective senator in that on the televised interrogations. He was sharp and he would go at it and he was very, very good. But also he resigned because he was grabbing people's butts at the state fair. And so I think it is incredibly sexist, the Democratic Party, the way they keep obsessing over Al Franken as if Tina Smith, who has voted in the exact same way that Al Franken would have voted, she's somehow unable to do it. I think it's sexist. I think it's ridiculous. Move on, Democrats.
Well, I gotta push back on you a little bit. That I think the voters' memory is incredibly short, in that you look what happened back in 22, where you have Fry and Walz both run after literally letting the place burn down and both get reelected.
Yeah.
And that was 2
do
years.
you think that's because people forgave them for that? Or do you think it's because the people running against them were sort of mediocre candidates?
I think it's time. I think time heals all wounds.
Yeah.
And
you may be
2
right.
years was enough for that. And Al Franken, it's been, my gosh, in comparison, eons.
Ugh, I'm a hell no on that. Thank you, Mark. I appreciate it. It's just a no for me. Come on. All right, we'll talk more about this in the 4 o'clock hour. I want to know if you want a big name or if you want a hard worker. And there are big names who could be hard workers. But we'll talk about that. There's sort of this push to have a celebrity. So I'll talk about that in a minute. We'll break. I want to know what the heck is going on with the University of Minnesota, the hospital system over there. All sorts of developments over the last 2 days. And this is a big deal for our state, for all of us. So we'll get into that in just a minute here on CCO.
Don't touch that dial. More Drive Time with DeRusha coming up on News Talk 830 WCCO.
Now, one of the texters in saying who should run for United States Senate said, what if we had a business leader? And they said, what if we had Chris Lindahl? I don't know. It might be a pay cut for Lindahl. I don't know. Does he want to go to Washington, D.C.? I will tell you this. If Chris Lindahl were to run for United States Senate, he would absolutely have no problem selling his home very quickly. If Lindahl got elected, and said this could happen to you or somebody in your life, where you get a quick job change, all of a sudden you're like, oh, man, I got to pack my bags and head on out to Washington, D.C. If you are ready to move right now, the guaranteed cash offer is how. ChrisLindahl.com is the website where you can get it started. Chris actually has just written a book telling his whole life story. It's quite inspiring, actually. Grew up here in Minnesota, tough time, hard scrabble childhood, worked his way into starting his own business. And his innovative marketing technique, that guaranteed cash offer, it just is more peace of mind in your pocket. You're going to get the money you deserve if you have to sell quickly. And you're not going to have to deal with all the headaches. ChrisLindahl.com. Should he run for Senate? No. Should he sell your, well, I shouldn't say no. But should he sell your house? Absolutely.
To all the fans who have discovered the voice message feature on the Odyssey app.
Hey, Jason, great show. I just have a comment about that.
We say, you're welcome.
Here's my own perspective.
To those of you who haven't used it yet, we ask, what are you waiting for?
Mike in Burnsville. Oh, hell no.
Click the microphone right next to the Listen Live button and record your thoughts whenever you want.
And that's it. Thank you.
Exclusively on the Odyssey app for News Talk 830 WCCO.
You can do this. Why? Because no one cares more about your money than you. Right now, many have concerns about their retirement, their investments. Are these mutual funds a poor investment? Did you know that with the average fees of 2%, you could be missing out on upwards of half of your potential retirement dollars? That's pretty high for management, especially when 75% of these funds underperform the market. At Trading Academy, our mission is to empower you to take control of your investments. Text investing to 210-210. Take control of your financial future. Maybe it's to just have a better conversation with your broker. Sign up for a free investing class, local classrooms, one-on-one mentoring, how to protect your investments against inflation. Text investing to 210-210 or go to learnwithota.com.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6986. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS.
Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start.
Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems.
We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau.
You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com
or call 800-575-6986. That's 800-575-6986.
Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Ever feel like there aren't enough hours in the day? If you get busy or miss your favorite show, don't worry. With Rewind, available exclusively on the free Odyssey app, you can stream your favorite shows on demand. You know your day is better with us. Get the news that matters to you from the local voices you trust. No matter what you're up to, give it a try. To get started, download the free Odyssey app and search for your station. That's AUDACY.
Now on CCO, let's do traffic and weather together. First, a check of the drive and what shape the roads are in.
Still got the crash working on 494 northbound as midway past Rockford Road, a little bit closer to 49th Avenue. The activity off the right shoulder. We did have one that was off the road, almost looking out to the fence line, well off to the right side. Traffic is jammed up as you make way toward Highway 55, 94 westbound, slowing for downtown Minneapolis with a crash near Park Avenue to be aware of. Trey Peterson, News Talk 830 WCCO.
At McCarthy Auto World, nothing says I love you like a new GMC Sierra LD with payments as low as $474 a month, plus no payments for 90 days. McCarthy Auto World, off Round Lake Boulevard in Coon Rapids or McCarthyAutoWorld.com. GMC, we are professional grade. See dealer for details.
Forecast time with an update on current conditions and a quick look at what's ahead the next few days.
Weather brought to you by McCarthy Auto World. Find your next GMC at McCarthyAutoWorld.com. Here's Chris Schaefer.
Finally, some snow to talk about. It doesn't happen tonight. The clouds will increase as we fall back to zero. Your morning commute tomorrow, no problem. Your drive home tomorrow night, problem, because the light snow will be falling by afternoon. I think we see 1 to 3 inches. That snow likely lingers right through the evening. Better chance of 2 to 4 inches as you head into Wisconsin. 24 the afternoon high, 22 on Saturday. The next cold snap arrives on Sunday.
Right now in downtown Minneapolis, it sure is nicer than it was this morning. I am celebrating sunny and 10. What is wrong with me on CCO?
This is Drive Time with DeRusha.
You look like maybe you're about to recite some poetry or sit in a corner with a little glass of wine and pontificate about something.
Yeah?
Yes, very debonair.
On News Talk 830 WCCO.
It is important to Minnesota to have a strong training program for our doctors and nurses and hospital systems. The University of Minnesota Hospitals does train a huge chunk of the doctors and nurses that we see in this state. And that is why this is an issue that's important to all of us, the future of this hospital. It's also going to be a huge financial question, as there's a lot of sort of corporate drama going on. We're going to try to cut through some of that with you. You may have heard a month ago that the University of Minnesota wanted to merge with Essentia Health, which is based in Duluth. It's a nonprofit health system. And they're going to create this kind of statewide system. But Fairview Health Services is the current partner with the University of Minnesota in running their hospitals. You might know if you go to M Health Fairview Masonic Children's Hospital, you have to say 4,000 words because of that combination. That's sort of the joint operations. Well, Fairview yesterday said, cram it. We do not support this idea of merging the U with Duluth Essentia Health. which made me wonder what is going on, because eventually the University of Minnesota is going to go to the state legislature and say, we need some money if we're going to have a robust training system and training hospital for cancer research, for fighting rare children's diseases and all of that. So we bring in Chris Gotti, who is the vice president for communications at the University of Minnesota. How'd I do, Chris, sort of describing all of this? It's a little complicated.
It's a little complicated, Jason. Thanks for the opportunity. Thanks for the opportunity to shed light on where we are in this process.
So where are we? What does this mean yesterday when Fairview said we don't support this? We're not in favor.
I would say that we were surprised by their response. We really do feel that this is a solution that's in the best interest, not only of patients, if you think about continuity of care, but you already pointed it out, Jason. This is a huge issue in terms of ensuring that Minnesota has the healthcare workforce it absolutely needs. The University of Minnesota is responsible for training 70% of the healthcare workforce. That's doctors, that's nurses, that's dentists. If you see a healthcare provider in Minnesota, there's a high probability that their training, their education was associated with the University of Minnesota. And their decision puts that at risk. And what we're encouraging is a robust discussion about the proposed solution that was offered, which was markedly different from the long-standing, almost 30-year relationship that's in place, which has been largely transactional in terms of providing space for clinical services. What we're thinking is more transformational, about an all-Minnesota solution that combines the resources and strengths of all of those organizations to create a solution that ensures access to services across the state. Essentia is an amazing provider that serves much of northern Minnesota. If you think about their presence and their reach combined with that of the University of Minnesota, and what we proposed was a conversation that included Fairview that would give us a distributed network across the state. And what is surprising to us is that it had not been fully vetted. It was a very quick response that it just wasn't a workable solution. So what we're asking for is a more robust, more thoughtful discussion. We heard their feedback, we responded to their feedback, but apparently their decision was no, at least at this stage.
All right, so help me cut through some of this stuff, because I think it's to listeners, they're like, I don't care. All of this stuff is like, it's inside fighting. Do you think, does Fairview want the University of Minnesota to just independently own its own facilities and Fairview would be separate, or do they still want to be involved in running the hospital?
I certainly would not speak for Fairview, but I think
how do you guys want it together?
We're looking for a combination of all three organizations' strengths, capabilities. What Essentia brings is an amazing ability in running not only hospitals, but outpatient clinics, especially in rural areas. They're recognized they're recognized nationally as providing high value care. And that sounds like jargon, but what it means is care that's high quality and efficiently delivered.
This is hard stuff, right, Chris? Because hospitals, and we've been talking about this on this show, I don't know how much our listeners know about the fact that hospitals, every hospital in the state of Minnesota, is sort of operating on a thread. It is not just because you pay a big bill when you go to the hospital or you see a big bill doesn't mean that hospitals are a very profitable operation. They just aren't. It's a difficult business, right?
Correct. There are significant expenses. Where does that money go? Who receives that money in terms of the payers, the insurers, but also to hire the workforce necessary and material. It's a complex mix.
And it's so important. Like we need a strong University of Minnesota hospital and medical system. It's just so critical to the future of the state. It is the hub of research in pretty much every area that anybody would care about. So like having the U have a healthy medical system is so important to Minnesota. The infighting and sort of the challenge with the fact that you got to work this out with Fairview, right? It is really difficult because you sort of need that access to the statewide network of different like clinics and doctors and all of that. So it is really a difficult situation. Is there a sense that like if you had to go it alone and the state would have to up the investment, is that being considered, or do you really need a partner to be able to make this work?
We need a partner, and it's important, Jason, to point out the solution we propose does not require additional state investment. Down the road, it may, as we expand and those types of things, but what we propose, the organizations themselves, through their combined assets and their ability for securing the right type of loans to reinvest. That's a big part of what we need to do.
Yeah.
We need to reinvest in the university facilities, but that's not state dollars. That was not a state ask. So it's important to point that out.
That's a good point.
And
Yeah.
what we need to be able to do is for us to be able to have the places where we can honor our commitment to health and medical education. Serve and patients.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's a lot of patients affected too. This is Chris Gotti, the university's vice president for communications. And we saw like this task force that really had an incredible powerhouse of leaders in the health industry and the political world trying to figure out, all right, what is the path forward? What's the path forward now with Fairview saying, look, we don't want, my read of Fairview's objection is that they don't want to have another healthcare system in the mix. Is that your read on what their letter said anyway?
I think it's time to your question, Jason. It's time for us all to work harder to get to yes for all of Minnesota. That's our point of view. I mean, when healthcare leaders are saying no to patients and no to a transformational solution, it's time to find a way to get to yes. And that's what we are trying to support, is the right kind of conversation that's meaningful, that honors what needs to be done. That task force identified a myriad of things that need to be addressed. This solution is well in line with that, as is other stakeholder input that was received. So how do we get the right people, the right organizations in a shared conversation to really get to yes for Minnesota?
Is the U president, Dr. Rebecca Cunningham, is she having conversations with Fairview CEO James Hereford? Do you know if they've talked since this kind of news came out yesterday?
They've been in conversation over a period of weeks. I don't know specifically if they've had conversations since the news of yesterday, but they've been in conversation for sure, as has Dr. Herman and others. We've been very diligent in engaging not only Fairview, but also other providers across the state about this vision. We've been in multiple locations sharing our perspective on the possibilities of this solution.
We got to get it worked out. We do. Chris Gotti, I appreciate the time and the insight. Thanks so much for being with us.
Thank you.
348. Hey, pitchers and catchers are reporting today. Today? Oh, I woke up, it was 10 below. But I also woke up with visions of Fort Myers. We'll talk about that in just a minute here on DriveTime.
Jason DeRusha and DriveTime needs to make a brief pit stop on News Talk 830 WCCO.
You still have time to get the perfect Valentine's Day present for your guy, and I want you to do it at J.H. & Sons. It's Jason here for J.H. & Sons at the Galleria. I was just at the store yesterday, right there in Edina. The Galleria is such a great place to go shopping, walk around, lots of great stores to see, but J.H. & Sons is something special. You walk in there, and immediately you get incredible service. You're going to see people working there who have worked at the best men's clothing retailers in the Twin Cities for the last 2, 3, 4 decades. And the Halberstadt family, I just can't say enough about this family. They started in St. Cloud 50 years ago. They've been in Sioux Falls. They are the men's clothier in Sioux Falls, and they're so excited to be here in the heart of the Twin Cities at the Galleria. Now, for Valentine's Day, what can you get at JH? Well, you can get a beautiful sweater. They have great sales right now. Sweaters, pants, outerwear, all 50% off. Plus, I love the cologne selection. Oh my goodness. 8 and Bob is a one. Just go and take a smell. And then just think about your guy smelling that good. Oh, baby. Yeah, now you're cooking. Go see Kevin. Say hi. Go to JH & Sons. Tell them Jason sent you. You can sign up for their email list as well to be the first to know about sales at jhandsons.com.
You ever try fixing your car and realize you're missing that one part? Yeah, been there. That's why eBay's my go-to. They've got millions of parts, guaranteed to fit. I'm talking brake pads for when yours have seen one too many miles of stop and go. Oil filters, because you don't mess around with your engine care. Even got this cold air intake on my watch list. I might just go for it. To keep the ride cool and your DIY streak hot. Find all the parts you need at prices you'll love. Guaranteed to fit every time. eBay. Things people love. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Millions of Americans take medicine like Ozempic and Zepbound. Many of them are overpaying by thousands of dollars a year. These GLP-1 medications for diabetes, weight loss, and more may not always be covered by your insurance, but GoodRx can help. GoodRx helps you save every month on prescriptions at over 70,000 pharmacies nationwide. Best of all, it's free to use. Check GoodRx to save on GLP-1s. Just go to GoodRx.com/GLP. That's GoodRx.com/GLP. GoodRx is not insurance, but can be used instead of insurance, including Medicare and other federal and state-funded programs.
Paid for by government. Throughout the history of America's Silver Eagle coin series, there's never been a mint state coin struck with a special privy mark. Until now. That's right. The world's most popular silver bullion coin has just been struck with a special star privy mark. Silver Eagles are the best-selling silver coin since first being introduced by the U.S. Mint in 1986. This is an amazing and historic event, but you must hurry. A strict limited edition mintage has been set, and once they are gone, they are gone. These first ever Silver Eagles are brand new legal tender coins, minted in 99.9% pure silver by the Philadelphia Mint. For a limited time radio offer, save $5 off every coin. Just call 1-800-473-3993 to secure the first ever star privy marked Mint State Silver Eagle coin. Plus receive free shipping, but you must call now. Call 1-800-473-3993 now to secure this first ever Silver Eagle. That's 1-800-473-3993.
Now on CCO, let's do traffic and weather together. First, a check of the drive and what shape the roads are in.
Crew still working to clear a crash with injuries. 494 northbound just beyond Rockford Road near 49th Avenue. The activity off to the right side. Your slowdowns back at Carlson Parkway. With some slowdowns also in place between Highway 7 and 394. If you're going to be traveling across on westbound side of things, you'll find it to be slow. Lindale out to France Avenue, 94 westbound near Chicago Avenue, where it crashed off to the left. Clear. Traffic remains tight, though, coming in from Riverside. It's also affecting South 35W heavy as moved down from University Avenue. Terry Peterson, News Talk 830 WCCO.
Jordana Green here. I pray you and your family are always safe. But if there's ever a time where you need an advocate after an accident, let Mike Bryant of Bradshaw and Bryant help you. He will work with and for you in dealing with the insurance company. Call 800-770-7008 today. Bradshaw and Bryant, seeking justice for the injured.
Forecast time with an update on current conditions and a quick look at what's ahead the next few days.
All right, it's cold. The low tonight is 0. Tomorrow, light snow by afternoon. I don't know why is Schaefer saying light snow, 1 to 3 inches. Come on, 2 to 4 in Wisconsin. High at 24. Saturday high at 22. Evening commute tomorrow could be scary. So stick with JP and us right here on DriveTime.
Drive Time with DeRusha is getting rolling again. Perfect. On News Talk 830 WCCO.
We thank the kids at Bradshaw and Bryant for bringing us the weather forecast there. They are, you know what they're doing, Dan. You know what Bradshaw and Bryant, what they're up to?
No, but I wish you'd tell me.
They are seeking justice for the injured.
Wow.
You don't know that? You don't know the song? You ever watch their TV ad?
You know, sometimes, Jason,
seeking justice
you ask a
for
question,
the injured.
and I'm trying to tee you up to give the
Oh,
answer,
I see.
even though I already know the answer.
Hey, what's going on in Florida?
Hey, it's pitchers and catchers reporting day.
Is this like Christmas for you?
It's pretty close.
Yeah.
It's pretty close. This is, I mean, literally the moment the Super Bowl ends, I consider it baseball season. So I was already tweeting that back on Sunday. But now that you have pitchers and catchers in camp and some guys are already there, we talked to Ryan Jeffers at Twins Fest. He was going to be there right away. And then full squad workouts begin Monday. And we know that for sure because on Monday, we will be broadcasting live from Fort Myers, from the press box. And it's going to be glorious.
We should be streaming live as well.
We're going
on
to try.
YouTube.
Yeah, sure.
So if you want
That's
to
the
check
plan.
that out. Should I buy a real web camera or should we just use like the laptop?
That's entirely up to you. I'm not going to tell you how to spend your money.
I'm excited about it. It's going to be great to be down there.
Yes. And we won't be enjoying it anymore just because it's going to be 5 degrees or whatever it is back up here.
No.
So the 70-degree difference between down there and up here will not be mentioned and will not be thoroughly enjoyed by you and I.
Sunday's high in Fort Myers is 83.
Right.
Monday is 78.
Yeah.
Might rain on Tuesday.
We might have to close down that
81 on Wednesday.
At the ballpark.
80 on Thursday.
We'll soldier through somehow.
It's going to be fun. Last year we made big news in an interview we did out there.
Yes, we did.
When the owner...
Well, I don't know. I mean, yeah, it was on our show that the news was made. Yes.
Why do you have to cheapen it?
Well, I'm not trying to cheapen it. I'm trying to say
Who asked the question?
He got hammered. I don't want to.
Oh, you just don't want to take
put it on him.
We asked a very reasonable question.
Yes.
In fact, it is funny this was when Joe Pollad said he was right-sizing the payroll of the business and whatever, and people just
lost their minds.
So what's interesting about that to me is in the moment, it did not register as something that would drive people bananas.
No, because it was a perfectly reasonable answer to the question that you asked.
That's right. And it just also seemed like a reasonable course of action.
Yeah.
But I will say, and I am a Pollad defender, but I will say that I do understand that the fan today believes that ownership should overspend and spend what it takes to win.
Yep.
And it is a change because you know what? Most of the owners understand that it's a long-term investment and they're going to double their money.
Right.
And so they don't care. They have a huge ego and they spend to win. Where I think the Pollads look at it more as like they're stewards of a community asset. And it's just a different approach. Like they're spending, they want to win, but they're not willing to at least the next generation, not willing to spend.
They want to,
just the way other rich owners.
They want to pay attention to a certain bottom line and not necessarily, like you said, it's not that long-term investment where even if you're in the red year to year, long-term, you're going to make back all of that money and then some. That's just not how they chose to run it. And fans, obviously can.
I get why fans feel the way they do.
Yeah, sure.
I've come along to where I think a lot of the fan base is. And also just kind of funny when you're doing an interview in the moment, you don't always realize oh boy, we're going to hear about this for a year.
So today we have Albert from UCare to help decomplicate Medicare plans for people who are just starting to learn about it. Tell me a little bit about Original Medicare and Medicare supplement plans.
Original Medicare is designed to cover about 80% of your overall medical expenditures. And then you have your Medicare supplement plans. They're designed to help cover the other 20% that Medicare leaves off. Most other costs are covered under your supplement plan. They do offer a nationwide coverage as well. They will be accepted anywhere that Original Medicare is accepted. Medicare supplement plans will provide a level of predictability instead of thinking about co-pays and constant costs. You pay your monthly premium one time a month and your medical costs are mostly covered.
So why should someone go with UCare?
So UCare does have competitive rates. Some of the lowest rates statewide that you can find, no cost fitness options and hearing aid discounts, and a large dedicated broker network that's willing to take all the time needed to help you find the right plan to secure your long-term health goals.
For more, contact a local broker and visit ucare.org.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, let's talk ED because millions of men experience it, but not everyone can access or afford treatments like Viagra. Well, Hims can help. Through Hims.com, you can get a full range of treatment options for ED, including daily or as-needed meds through a 100% online process. It all starts with an online intake form. Get started at hims.com/joy, and from there, a medical provider licensed in your state will determine if ED treatment is right for you. If prescribed, your medication is shipped to you for free. Find the ED treatment that fits your needs with options up to 95% less than the brand names. Millions of men experience ED, but Hims can help. To start your free online visit and save up to 95%, go to hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy for your free online visit. HIMS.com/JOY.
The headlines, the context, the impact. News Talk 830 WCCO 1029 HD2 Minneapolis, St. Paul. Always streaming on the free Odyssey app.
CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by Progressive Insurance.
I'm Cammie McCormick. President Trump said it could mean higher prices for Americans in the short term, but matching tariffs to what other countries charge will correct what he calls an unfair system.
I have decided, for purposes of fairness, that I will charge a reciprocal tariff, meaning whatever countries charge the United States of America, we will charge them. No more, no less.
Senior analyst Mark Hamrick at Bankrate.com.
This is very Trump-like in the sense that it gives an opportunity and a process to engage in some deal-making, and it takes the somewhat softer approach in not imposing the tariffs right away.
Trump has used the threat of tariffs as a tool to negotiate. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. has been sworn in as the nation's health secretary, and he accused the nation's health institutions of stealing the health of our children.
Our plans are radical transparency and returning gold standard science, NIH, the FDA, and CDC, to ending the corruption, ending the corporate capture of those agencies, getting rid of the people on those panels that have conflicts of interest.
The nomination of Kash Patel to be FBI director was advanced in the Senate today. Linda McMahon, Trump's choice to be education secretary, was asked at her confirmation hearing about Trump's desire to shutter the department. CBS's Caitlin Huey-Burns is on Capitol Hill.
Trump has talked often on the campaign trail about gutting the Department of Education. We have seen Elon Musk talk about not only reforming, but slashing a Department of Education funds. So there is a big question about what this department that she wants to lead would actually look like.
75,000 federal workers did take the buyout offer from the Trump administration, as Nancy Cortez reports.
What we're still waiting to find out is, who are these workers? What kinds of jobs do they hold? And what will it mean that you've got 3% of the federal workforce basically retiring en masse?
Those who did not take the offer are at risk of being fired. A federal judge in Baltimore today temporarily blocked Trump's executive order restricting gender-affirming care for transgender teens. Heavy rain in California, in areas devastated by the recent wildfires, could create major problems, as Cara Fenstrom reports from Los Angeles.
There are big worries about potential mud flows. And a little earlier today, we were up in a hillside community where officers were taking bullhorns and going up and down the streets, letting folks know they are under mandatory evacuation orders.
Authorities say a highway crash near Portland, Oregon, in whiteout conditions caused a more than 100 vehicle pileup. This is CBS News.
Brought to you by Progressive Insurance. You could save big when you bundle your auto, home, motorcycle, RV, or boat. Visit Progressive.com.
Now from Minnesota's radio station, let's get you caught up with Minnesota's latest headlines and biggest stories on News Talk 830 WCCO.
Mostly sunny, 9 degrees at 4:03. I'm Laura Oakes. The Minneapolis City Council today decides to indefinitely postpone their vote to shift violence interrupter contracts over to Hennepin County.
After a fiery debate in the council chamber over accusations from Councilmember Robin Wansley alleging that the city awarded hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of violence prevention contracts without confirmation on how those funds were used. Councilmember Latricia Vita shot down those claims.
There's no data to support it. There's nothing that says that the commissioner and his department has done anything wrong. So I can't buy into that because it's just not true.
The resolution comes just weeks after contracts were finalized and awarded to violence interrupter groups for 2025. Taylor Rivera, News Talk 830 WCCO.
Minnesota Lieutenant Governor Peggy Flanagan wasting no time in announcing she plans to run for the U.S. Senate seat that will open up after Senator Tina Smith leaves office. Smith announcing that news this morning.
I wanted you to hear directly from me that I have decided not to run for re-election to the United States Senate in 2026.
KSTP TV political reporter and WCCO radio host Tom Hauser says along with Flanagan, things could get interesting if Governor Tim Walz also ends up entering the race.
Maybe it would be in his interest to run for the U.S. Senate
and go back to Washington. And I think I would almost assure you, Peggy Flanagan did not consult with him in those 4 seconds before she made this announcement because she wanted to get to the head of the line.
Hauser telling WCCO's Chad Hartman he wouldn't be surprised if other prominent politicians like Congresswoman Angie Craig or even former U.S. Senator Al Franken also take a run at Smith's seat. City leaders in Brooklyn Park are clarifying their approach to President Trump's crackdown on illegal immigration. Police Chief Mark Bruley says enforcing immigration law isn't the role of his department, but they do work in coordination with ICE if criminal investigations overlap with undocumented people.
When we're talking about like human trafficking or major drug smuggling, especially with the fentanyl epidemic, it is smart for us to partner with ICE and use those resources to be able to recover, victims that are being trafficked, or to, remove large amounts of narcotics that are being smuggled by those that are here illegally.
Bruley telling WCCO's Vanita Sawkar officers do not ask about immigration status or enforce immigration laws. Minnesota lawmakers introducing a bill to extend the state ban on mining in the Boundary Waters Canoe Area wilderness to also prohibit copper nickel mining. It follows an executive order by President Trump that essentially cancels a Biden administration moratorium on mining in the area. Ingrid Lyons is executive director of the nonprofit Save the Boundary Waters.
Over 165,000 people visit this wilderness every single year. And it's not just popular on the national level. In Minnesota, 70% of Minnesotans want to see the wilderness permanently protected from copper mining.
Supporters of copper nickel mining in northeastern Minnesota say it would provide hundreds of new good-paying jobs. WCCO News Time is 4:06.
Now on CCO, let's do traffic and weather together. First, a check of the drive and what shape the roads are in.
Stalled vehicle causing problems north 169 as you approach Old Shockley Road. Left lane shut down. Traffic is jammed and crammed as you make way toward 101. West 494, 35W crash working there. It's slow past Lindale. Heading for westbound Sulphur downtown Minneapolis. Some of the problems at Chicago have not been taken care of, but it is a slow ride coming in from Chicago. 494 northbound as you make way toward 49th Avenue. Exit in off to the right side should clear shortly. In the meantime, it is jammed up prior to Highway 55. Trey Peterson, News Talk 830 WCCO.
Forecast time with an update on current conditions and a quick look at what's ahead the next few days.
And here's WCCO TV Chief Meteorologist Chris Schaefer.
We have a brief warm-up on the way, but it comes at a cost. Clouds increase tonight, falling back to zero. Light snow should start falling by afternoon. We could see 1 to 3 inches in the Twin Cities, better chance of 2 to 4 as you hop across the St. Croix into western Wisconsin. 24 the afternoon high. However, the wind will pick up from the southeast, making it feel cooler. Cloudy and 22 Saturday, back to the single digits for highs Sunday through next week.
Mostly clear right now, 9 degrees at News Talk 830 WCCO.
When news hits close to home, trust the hometown team. News Talk 830 WCCO. No suit, no tie, just DeRusha. It's drive time. Live from the WCCO studios, high atop the Odyssey Tower.
Ladies and gentlemen, please make some noise.
I'm super excited to introduce to you
Jason DeRusha.
Well, the big headline today is the news that Senator Tina Smith is not going to run again in 2026. And I was listening to Chad talk about this, and he and Adam were discussing how there wasn't a big flashy moment, the big Tina Smith moment. And it just got me thinking about what our expectations are for politicians today. Do we want to be entertained? Do we want to be hyper-stimulated? Do we want to be driven to action? Or do we want somebody boring? 651-461-9226. Do you want the next senator from Minnesota to be boring? I think when I think about this, I have conflicted opinions because we're in a world that is driven by short attention spans. It is driven by whether somebody can sort of grab you and get you in. And so I admit, like, when I think about the names that are interesting to me, I think about big names. From the Republican side, what if Michelle Tafoya were to run? What if Liz Collin were to run? I think Liz Collin would be an intriguing Republican candidate. Grew up in rural Minnesota, comes to the big city, gets to play the Republican hit of, I was part of the media and realized how corrupt it is and got out. I think it's pretty good. That would be a pretty strong campaign. And then I think, you know what? Do we want to be a part of the circus? Minnesota, by way of just our nature, I think is usually kind of boring. You look at Royce White, the Republican candidate last time. He was a flamethrower. He was a communicator, for better or for worse. Post-election of President Donald Trump, my gut says that we're going to want somebody kind of boring. Now, are we going to want someone as boring as some of the names that have been floated already? No. I don't think so. I don't know. Like, can you raise money if you're boring? I don't know. Two texters in rapid fire with different views on Tina Smith. And I think, honestly, I think both of you are right. Because here's the thing about Tina Smith. And Blois said this very intelligently when we talked at 3:10 in our first hour. And you can check that out wherever you get podcasts, or you can go back on the YouTube stream or the Facebook stream and take a listen to Blois. But Tina Smith has been an incredibly effective behind-the-scenes operative. She was key to Governor Dayton when he was first elected. She was key for, I believe she was the R.T. Ryback chief of staff. So as much as people, I think, today look back on the R.T. Ryback era and think, man, what a great mayor. Tina Smith deserves a lot of that credit. Did she ever want to be out front? But by all accounts, from everyone that, and I don't know Tina Smith, we've interviewed her a couple of times, but by all accounts, no, like she just wanted to be a public servant. She liked being behind the scenes. Not that she didn't like the job as senator, but she wasn't going to visit every county in the state. One texter says, maybe I would like someone a little more visible than Tina Smith. She was invisible to the point that we would forget she is our senator. Dan, I think there's some truth to that. She just wasn't flashy. She was just sort of doing the work, but part of the work is being a little more visible.
Depending on how we define visibility. I mean, these days, visibility seems to mean being brash and outspoken.
You got to get a headline. You got to get
some sort of hot take, some
viral
sort of
clip.
And I don't know that plays terribly well in Minnesota. I mean, if you look at the two senators we have right now, Amy Klobuchar is certainly more visible than Tina Smith is. But most of the time, what do we hear about Amy Klobuchar? It's, this light bulb bill. It's this Consumer Protection Act. It's, it's very kind of milquetoast stuff.
Safe, but very headline grabby and interest sort of relevant to the regular person.
In a way that plays well in Minnesota.
It's not healthcare reform. It's that,
So, can you do that? Maybe a little more of that? Sure. But I mean, I thought Tina Smith was following the Amy Klobuchar playbook pretty closely in her, time as senator. So I don't know, you only have one Amy Klobuchar, right? But would you want one of these senators that's on the, the news channels all the time and saying crazy and wild? And
I do for this show.
Well, yeah, for our purposes, that gives us plenty of material. I mean, I'm all for it.
But no,
I'm saying in Minnesota,
I would prefer no.
No.
I would prefer no. Texter says Tina Smith was an excellent senator. She was a great listener, looked out for constituents, and was super solid on policy. The media,
if you're a Democrat, you believe that, yeah.
The media wants entertainment. I think that's a fair critique. It's a fair critique.
I mean, are we
Constituent
part of
service?
It? Sure, but the media is not giving people stuff they don't want. I think that's and I bristle because I'm in the media, right? So I get that, but I always bristle
Don't be
when people,
so defensive.
when people say stuff like that, because it's like it's a deflection on the part of the voter of their responsibility.
That's fair. The media wants entertainment. The public also wants entertainment.
The media wants entertainment because the public wants entertainment.
Hard to tell who's wagging who on that deal. But I tend to agree with you. I mean, I love a good media bashing now, The people want it. What the people want, I just want to entertain the people, Dan, and what they want is media bashing. They love it.
Well, there's
the
that,
left
yes.
hates us, the right hates us. Why not? Now, this texter says she was not just behind the scenes for people who were paying attention. She was in the forefront more than Klobuchar on many issues. I do think when you think about abortion, like she was definitely out in front on reproductive rights.
That's one. Sure.
I think reproductive rights, and also I think because Tina Smith, she just didn't seek the cameras as much.
And I think that's kind of what we're
I do
asking,
think that's a
right?
mistake. It is the way you communicate with the people, with your people. And so if you're going to not be like the news release issuer, always out doing stuff, like how often did they ever pitch us to come on this show?
Senator Smith?
Yeah.
I don't remember them ever doing that. No. The couple of times that we had her on, it was me reaching out to them saying, hey, can we get her on? Like I did today, and got absolutely no response. So, and she is doing interviews today. We heard Tom Hauser say that she was going to talk with him. I think it's an interesting thing to think about, because we all have to analyze ourselves on this and think about what is it that we want, because the names that are being brought up, I mean, look at the names that we have so far. You're going to have the governor. You're going to have the lieutenant governor. You've got, like, right now we're sort of in the inside politics, nerdville, people who are running. And when you see the names that people are throwing out as who they would like to see, the people who want Franken again, the people who want Michelle Tafoya, does Matt Burke re-enter the chat? He ran as lieutenant governor. Does he want to give it another go? I don't know. I think it's an intriguing time for us to also think about what matters to us. What does Jeff in Sauk Rapids have to say? Jeff, you're on CCO. Do you want? I know everyone says they want the hardworking. They don't want the flashy. But I don't know what to believe. I'm not sure if people really do want the boring senator.
I'm just going to give you an assessment. I've studied Minnesota history. If you study Minnesota politics, we have been swinging from the rafters ever since the inception of statehood. So it's not surprising. You watch districts change, you watch people change seats, this and that. I find that not the very least surprising. You've got Tina Smith that's going to retire. Okay, is Walz going to want the seat? Does Flanagan want the seat? I think you mentioned Angie Craig and some other people. Yeah. Well, they're, and I'm only talking about Democrats right now. And, it seems like they're willing to play musical chairs.
Yeah.
But I believe that is absolutely Minnesotan politics for 150 years.
Yeah.
We've just been that way.
You think that we will swing back to a Republican? The last time we had a Republican in the Senate was Norm Coleman. So that would have been, he was elected in 2002 and lost to Al Franken in that 2009 very close election. But that was...
There's certainly that potential, like you just mentioned. That was a very close election.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's always that potential. And I think these folks that want to take the particular offices are giving that some thought, but
Yeah.
they're kind of looking at, what do I want to do? What can I do? I do truly believe they're looking at it more from a perspective of what they can do.
Yeah,
and
makes sense.
They just have some faith in the voters to, if you're a partisan.
Got it. Jeff, we got to run. Thank you, Jeff from Sauk Rapids. We'll break. Lots of texts coming in. If you want to keep going on this, we can at 651-461-9226. I also want to talk about, after the break, light rail spending. Oh, some interesting things on the future light rail spending. We'll get into that next.
Drive Time with DeRusha is back after this on News Talk 830 WCCO.
This is your last chance. It is tonight. It is tomorrow. It is Saturday. It's Sunday. Have you been to Minnesota Ice Festival yet? It's Jason. Oh, I love the guys from Minnesota Ice. I've known them since they were college students starting a business, trying to make pure, clear ice. You see it at the bars or the restaurants you go to, that unbelievably clear ice cube. Well, now they have built the world's largest ice maze, and they've done it as a gift and as a celebration of Minnesota winter. You go out to TCO Stadium in Eagan, the home of the Vikings training camp, the home of the Minnesota Aurora, and the whole playing surface has been transformed into a winter wonderland. You've got an 18,000 square foot ice maze. That is the centerpiece. But you also have a warming house with drinks and food. There are food trucks from all over the place. There are different igloos with family fun and different games you can play. There is a giant slide constructed out of ice. And there's also an ice skating rink. Don't miss the chance to experience the largest ice maze in the world. Go to MinnesotaIceFestival.com. Get the tickets now. You don't have to pick a time to enter or anything. Pick your day. Maybe tonight. Why not tonight? Put on a hat, put on some gloves, experience winter as a family, and do it at MinnesotaIceFestival.com.
Oh my gosh, I had no idea.
We hear that a lot at Coit because over time, your upholstery, tile, carpets, floors, air ducts, just about everything collects dirt. You just don't realize it until they're cleaned. Well, this week only, call 800-4COIT and get 35% off a Coit clean. That's 800-FOR-COIT for 35% off all our cleaning services. Minimum charge applies. Discount doesn't apply to service charge, restoration, or commercial services. Restrictions apply. Call 800-4COIT for details.
Seems everything costs more these days. Gas, groceries, and when's the last time you checked your wireless bill? Yikes. When it comes to big wireless, if you're staying, you may be overpaying. Here's how to get the same fast, reliable nationwide coverage without the big wireless bill. Switch to Consumer Cellular. Plans start at just $20 a month, and that's not a short-term promo. Our US-based experts will get you switched and saving in about 20 minutes. Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com and start saving today. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing.
If you want jazz music, go to New Orleans. Bagels, New York. And for psychics, think California Psychics. You want the best, you go to the best. At California Psychics, home of free spirits and open minds, we know better than anyone what makes a good psychic. That's why we guarantee if your reading isn't life-changing, it's free. Visit CaliforniaPsychics.com and experience the joy of certainty. California Psychics.
This is Drive Time with DeRusha.
It's a piece of art.
It is very interesting. Could be very euphoric, but could be demoralizing.
On News Talk 830 WCCO.
How many of these names that we're hearing, by the way, do you think are real, or just people who are I may as well get my name in this news cycle? Right? Should we throw our hats in? What?
Well, there's plenty of speculation on, speaking of Chad Hartman's show, about you throwing your hat in the ring. That was brought up and that was speculated upon.
What's the buzz on that from that show?
The buzz was absolutely you were going to. The question was whether it was just going to be a bit or whether you were actually serious about doing it.
So I will say I'm conflicted about whether or not it would be a good idea for me officially to declare that I am running for United States Senate. I need to pray on this. As you know, I need to talk to my family. I need to talk to my advisors.
Yeah.
I do have a friend who has said if I ever run for governor, he will drop everything to be my campaign advisor because he thinks that I would be good for Minnesota.
How about that?
It's nice. That's a good friend.
That is, well, yeah.
Now, if
Depends on how much of the, where he knows where the bodies are buried.
and he does.
Okay, well,
Oof.
you'd rather have that guy by your side.
Correct.
Than out
Yes.
there, talking to
So
somebody
that's
else.
the question, right? Like, if just for publicity purposes, like I want to get in on this news cycle, right? Because look at who are all of the people who have said we're thinking about it so far. Oh my gosh, the list is so dang long.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, it's every.
Well,
major
Flanagan got
politician
in
say-
first.
Right.
Brilliant. Everyone, I think you guys know, I have known Lieutenant Governor Peggy Flanagan since like 20 years. And I really like her. So do I think she would be a great senator? I don't know. I think she's a terrific human being. I don't fully know where her policy positions are, but I just like her as a human. Now, that said, like she's getting a lot of pub out of this today.
Sure.
And I think it would be really good for our show to get in on all these headlines. Like, I don't know what the deadline is.
To file?
No, to get in on
to get
the
on the news
stories.
cycle?
So I tweeted to Caroline Cummings to asking her to please float my name just for publicity purposes. And she said that I'm running for biggest troll in 2026.
I don't think that's what you were asking her to do.
No.
Come on, Caroline.
I'm considering it, Dan.
Well, sure.
I would just like all of the political reporters out there who are listening. I want to make it clear in 2026, if I'm called, that's what it's about. Does Minnesota want me? But I am having conversations. I'm listening to what the people are saying.
You're open to the possibilities.
If I ran, I would have to declare a party. Right? Or do I
could
just
as
run
an
independent?
You could run as an independent.
I think that would be the move. Like,
we know from voice messages and texts and emails that both sides hate you as it is. So
correct.
You might as well just run as an
Now,
independent.
this texter saying the person I'd like to see run, because when he talks, I think he makes a lot of sense and looks at both sides pretty well, is Henry Lake.
Mm.
Now, Henry would be a good choice. I would vote for Henry Lake. You're unsure.
We'd have to have some conversations.
I'm open to H Lake. You know what I mean?
I'm absolutely open to H Lake. Yes. I'm trying to figure out if he would want to run. I'm not sure if that's something Henry's really interested. Maybe he is.
Texter says Republicans for some time have been putting up crackpots. I don't know that that's fair, but I will say, like, Republicans have been putting forward terrible candidates.
Yeah, there's a reason they haven't won a statewide election in a long time.
And the other reality, I know Republicans right now are like licking their chops. They're like, oh, Tina Smith is out of the way. I will say that I think Republicans would have had a better chance running against Tina Smith than they're going to have running against whoever the Democrats put up. I think the Democrats have a very strong bench. They have mayors. They have people with statewide elected office. They have Tim Walz, who ran a national campaign. The bench is deep. For the Republicans, you got a parade of losers who have lost elections many times. You do have, in greater Minnesota and suburban Minnesota, some Republicans who have had success. But the most electable is Tom Emmer. And would he want to give up the power he has in the House right now? I don't know. I don't think that would be a step up for Tom Emmer. So who's on the bench for Republicans? I don't know. So I think I see why the Republicans see opportunity, but I think the Republicans actually had better opportunity running against Tina Smith because she is not an attention seeker. The downside of that is that she is not. She's a bit of a blank canvas that you can project whatever you want on her, I think.
The Republicans have to get out of their own way first, regardless of who's running on the other side, right?
Yeah.
Because the pattern has been that you have to tack so far to the right to get the Republican nomination that it doesn't play statewide or specifically in the metro areas. in the suburbs. You have to, as Republicans, make inroads in the suburbs somehow.
Yeah.
And the hard rightness that gets you to the nomination doesn't play there.
You have to
They have to figure that out before they even worry
if
about
the
who they're running
party is serious about getting anybody elected, they have to. You can endorse whoever you want. If I ran the Republican Party, would get rid of endorsements and just have a really competitive primary.
Yeah.
And try to get people excited about the primary and come out and vote. And that's what I would do. I think the endorsement process leads to Looney Tunes.
I agree.
And it gets people to just say, screw it, I'm not coming out and voting. So we will see. I don't know. It's fun, man. Having a competitive race, and all the drama. Tim Walz, Peggy Flanagan. I love it. I love it. Do I have time for this? I don't. There is a bill being proposed that would ban LRT spending until Southwest Light Rail is done. And I'm for it. And I think since Donald Trump is indiscriminately canceling federal spending, some good federal spending, some bad federal spending, I would like to see the federal government cancel the extension of the blue line, right? We're just not at a place for this right now. Get rid of it. Don't spend any more money. But the idea of having a hard stop until we actually finish Southwest sounds good to me. Sounds good to me. All right, let's break. We're going to do, we got a ton of interesting stuff in DeRusha Eats, including a chef who started his youth in Minneapolis, stealing cars, getting convicted of a felony, sent off to prison, dropped out of school, and now he owns the hottest pizza place in the Twin Cities. We'll play a clip of our podcast with the owner of OG ZAZA. Plus, we're going to go to Grandview Lodge near the Brainerd Lakes. We got a conversation about that coming up.
More Drive Time with DeRusha is on the way following these messages on News Talk 830 WCCO.
Who do you love? Who do you love? Do you have someone in your life you love? It's Jason. I hope you have love. I hope you've found love, whether it's a companion or maybe it's a parent or a kid, or love is in the air. And love should also be in your glass. Certix at University in Hennepin is having their Valentine sale right now. And I love the options they've picked. Yes, there's a beautiful Chave Côte d'Aron. Oh, this red wine is so good. $20. Great price. There is some great Shell's Fire Brick. Oh, baby, stoke that fire. The little Shells, you get a 12-pack for $16. That's a great deal. 4 Roses. A lot of people are going to give their loved ones roses. I say give your loved one 4 Roses, single barrel bourbon. And Certix has an unbelievable selection. So many things on sale. Pick out a bottle of wine, go next door, get some cheese and chocolate to pair with it. All you need. They got cards too. One-stop shop. Certix is at University at Hennepin. You can go online at Certix.com.
At News Talk 830 WCCO, we don't just read the news. We take you into the storm before it hits.
This could be the biggest winter storm we've seen all season.
We're there as heroes rise to meet the moment.
Get everyone clear, now!
And we pull back the curtain where questions demand answers.
Governor, can you comment on the latest fraud case?
We give you a front row seat to the world. News Talk 830 WCCO. Don't just hear the news, experience it.
Huntington is banking that just clicks. Like early pay. You could get paid up to 2 days faster and there's no cost. Hey, Twin Cities, stop playing the waiting game. Make the switch today at huntington.com/yourmoney. Direct deposit and eligibility requirements apply.
Hey, it's Benita. The Good Feet store has made such a huge difference in my life. I went into the Good Feet store and tried their arch support system. I could feel the difference immediately. It helped with some of the foot pain I was having and hip pain. I'm an active person. I like to be on the go. I don't want foot pain stopping me at all. The Good Feet store really does make a difference. I used to have pain in my feet, not anymore. Check out The Good Feet Store.
Hi, this is Adam Saba, third generation at Dodge of Burnsville. As a business owner, you need commercial vehicles that have the power you need, room for your gear, and service you can count on. Let me introduce you to Business Link at Dodge of Burnsville, where we take the hassle out of owning and maintaining your vehicle. We offer next available bay, free loaners, qualified technicians, large lifts, and extended service hours to get you back on the job. Nobody sells more commercial Ram trucks than Dodge of Burnsville. That's why we are the King of Ram. Clifton 35W or kingofram.com.
Brought to you by Total Wine and More. With the lowest prices for over 30 years, you'll always find what you love and love what you find. Only at Total Wine and More. Drink responsibly. Be 21.
Taxes was not knowing your full financial picture. Now Taxes is getting and maximizing your refund all in one place. Credit Karma, where a TurboTax expert can do your taxes for you. They'll get you the most money back, guaranteed. Then you can do more with all that money, all in Credit Karma. Now this is Taxes. Intuit Credit Karma with TurboTax. Get started today. See guarantee details at turbotax.com/guarantees. Experts only available with TurboTax Live.
Imagine placing an investment or trade without fear. Knowing that big institutions have taken the same trade as you, pushing the price higher, which only they can do. You get to ride the wave of institutional demand. If not, your plan will protect you from the downside. This is how our students are taught to invest in trade. Right now, you can sign up for a free investing class where we'll outline our strategy for following the smart money. Text investing to 210-210. We'll also review strategies for growing a retirement portfolio, how professionals profit when stocks are falling, and how to protect your investments against inflation. With a 25-year history, local classrooms, and one-on-one support, you're not alone. And now it's your turn. Sign up for a free investing class today. Text investing to 210-210 or go to learnwithota.com.
Now on CCO, let's do traffic and weather together. First, a check of the drive and what shape the roads are in.
Make sure you got your sunglasses handy. Things go on the bright side. Just make those westbound runs. If you're going to be traveling 694, that's going to be jammed up both directions right now between Rice Street and 35W. West 94, slow through Maple Grove, Hemlock Lane, heading out to Weaver Lake Road. 494 jammed up between the Bush Lake Roads, both directions between there and Cedar Avenue. Jerry Peterson, News Talk 830 WCCO.
What's your love language? Whatever it is, Mini Leaf has your perfect Valentine's Day gift. You can give the gift of being pain-free and have better sleep and a whole lot of fun. Check out minileaf.com, MINNELEAF.com.
Forecast time with an update on current conditions and a quick look at what's ahead the next few days.
Mini Leaf is the home of Minnesota's best legal products. They bring us WCCO TV Chief Meteorologist Chris Shea.
Finally, some snow to talk about. It doesn't happen tonight. The clouds will increase as we fall back to zero. Your morning commute tomorrow, no problem. Your drive home tomorrow night, problem, because the light snow will be falling by afternoon. I think we see 1 to 3 inches. That snow likely lingers right through the evening. Better chance of 2 to 4 inches as you head into Wisconsin. 24 the afternoon high, 22 on Saturday. The next cold snap arrives on Sunday.
It is 9 degrees, sunny out, so enjoy that on CCO.
Let's roll with more of Jason DeRusha on News Talk 830 WCCO.
DeRusha, he has the eats.
Nobody brings you the Twin Cities restaurant scene like our favorite foodie. Now, Jason explores some of the great chefs, owners, and stories right in our own backyard as DriveTime transitions into DeRusha Eats.
And DeRusha Eats is brought to you by the Minnesota Pork Board and Surdix Liquor and Cheese Shop. I have the perfect idea for a Valentine's Day gift for you, for a friend, for someone special, and that is a food and wine weekend at Grandview Lodge. Let's talk to Dawn Southworth, the managing director of Grandview Lodge. Dawn is with us on the John Schuster Coldwell Banker hotline. Dawn, you're up at Grandview right now?
I am, Jason. How are you?
I'm amazing. How balmy is it at Grandview Lodge right now?
It's absolutely amazing here at Grandview Lodge. The sun is shining on our beautiful white snow we have and our lovely ice lakes. So it's pretty awesome up here right now.
It's 7 degrees, Dawn. That's all right. It's all right. Like, you have nice ice out there. I actually love going to Grandview in the winter. There's something peaceful and beautiful and very Minnesota about that moment. This is your first winter up. This is your first winter period, right? Because you were last in Florida.
Yeah, I was last in Florida. It's been about 20 years since I was in this weather.
And it's a slap in the face, isn't it?
I don't know. I'm doing pretty good. I'm at Grandview. I'm finding all kinds of things to do in the winter.
All right. I wanted you to come on today because I do think, as people are thinking about experiences that they can give as a Valentine's gift, the Divine Wine and Culinary Weekend, which is February 28th through March 2nd. It's coming up soon. But I think this would be an amazing gift. Tell people, like, what sort of stuff is going on up there.
You know, Jason, it is an amazing gift, and especially for those who haven't quite covered that gift piece for tomorrow.
Yeah, which is every man listening. Like, let's be real.
Well, I didn't want to say that. But, you know, I forgot to say, I've also got Emma Otto here with me, our assistant food and beverage director, because she's been the one in dealing with Divine for years. And Divine is this amazing weekend of taking wine and food and just pairing it from so many different aspects. And then as well as just having seminars throughout the day. And I kind of heard that there was this gentleman that was actually going to do Q&A during a luncheon. I think his name was Jason.
Yeah, I don't think there's a gentleman who's going to be doing it, but it certainly is me. Like, I am excited about it. I love this weekend. There's the peacefulness of the winter at Grandview Lodge, which is cool. And maybe Emma can tell us a little bit about some of the, these are all of the big shot sort of wine experts and wine distributors. And people come from all over the state, including some of my absolute favorites from down here in the Twin Cities, because they love being up there and they love teaching, which is what makes this a little bit different. Right, Emma?
Yes, we have not only our reps, but we actually have some people within the Twin Cities that do this for their daily normal lives to come up and talk to us about their wine training, how they got into it, where to go. One of them is actually Twin Cities Wine, and Jason is coming up to talk to us about how to blog your wine vacation and how to journal it and document. And I think it's so cool. Just a different take on it.
Jason and Angela Carlson are amazing. So that'll be fun for people. And so it goes all weekend, right, Emma? It starts with like wine dinners on Friday night, all the education, and then a grand tasting on Saturday. And then why not a little champagne action on Sunday too, right?
Yes, correct. Those 2 wine dinners on Friday night, 2 different kind of culinary menus so you can choose what you like better. There's also 2 different wine regions. So one is very California heavy, and then one is going to be more old world and Italian French wines. And then Saturday, we're kicking it off with just juice and yoga in the morning, and then seminars all day with an energy break, lunch with you.
Wait a minute. Do I have to do yoga? Is this part of the deal? I didn't know that was happening.
No, you don't have to do yoga. But if you want to.
Maybe I should. At this age, maybe I should. Emma, really good. Thank you so much. Dawn, thank you. If people go to grandviewlodge.com, they can sign up for this and be good to go. Good stuff.
Thanks, Jason. We'll look forward to seeing everyone.
Thank you both. We'll see you up there February 28th, Grandview Lodge. I think people sometimes sleep on Grandview Lodge in the winter. So that's why I want to bring them on and chat about that. And I am moderating a session midday. So that'll be fun. Okay. I want to play you a little clip of the DeRusha Eats podcast. So we do a separate podcast with chefs with long form conversations. And this one, I'm telling you, is a must listen to. It is a Twin Cities chef whose pizza restaurant, OG ZAZA, is so hot right now. He was just on Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives on the Food Network with Guy Fieri. Joshua Hedquist grew up here in the Twin Cities, got caught up in trouble with the law, stole cars, stole money. His life looked like it was headed for dead end. He was sent off to prison, for real prison. 9th grade was the last time he was in a school as a student. He dropped out. But food saved his life. Cooking at Redstone was his first time in a kitchen. He tells this story in a podcast that you can download at DeRusha Eats, but here's a little clip of those early days after he got out of prison.
And yeah, it was sex, drugs, and rock and roll back then. It was a lot different. The culture was completely different than it is today. And you had to figure that stuff out. So maybe I traded in stealing cars to, a different type of lifestyle of running and gunning, probably drinking and partying way too much, making terrible decisions.
Yeah.
And not, the tough part was not having the mentorship through that. I think that when you're going through life, it's really good to have people to rely on that you can trust. So when you're having a bad day, or like when you need to figure some pivotal things out, or maybe you're kind of going off the deep end,
right?
You need someone there to maybe be like, hey, let's talk about this, pull back on the reins. But I didn't have that. So it was all gas pedal for 10 or 15 years. I went hard.
When did you sort of make the turn to really refining your craft as a cook and as a chef?
Great question. I got a job working for this dude named Philip Dorwart.
Oh yeah.
Triggs.
I know Philip. Yeah.
And it was such a unique experience of how we opened that restaurant, where he was like, hey, I want to do fried calamari. And I remember this with a Luke olive aioli. And Luke olives, you can't buy them without the pits. Huh. So you'd have to smash all these olives first, get the pits out. And then we made, an aioli from scratch. And so it was a total creative process where he hired a bunch of cooks that were probably sous chef caliber people.
Mm-hmm. And that experience opened Josh Hedquist's mind to this. In the podcast, DeRusha Eats, you can find it on the Odyssey app. You can find it on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, wherever you get podcasts, you can find it. Just search DeRusha Eats. The latest episode is 40 minutes, long-form conversation with Joshua Hedquist. And he is just so fascinating. So fascinating. This life that was absolutely headed towards the gutter. And he worked in different restaurants here in the Twin Cities, fine dining, trying different things. And during COVID, he opened a pizza place called OG ZAZA. It started in, he had one spot that didn't quite take off, but it really took off in Roseville at a shopping mall with a style that's unique. He went viral online because of these pizzas. Maybe it was because of the cool name, but maybe it was because of the technique, which is a style of pizza that maybe you guys haven't heard of. It's called New Haven style. Describe what New Haven style is. What does that mean to you?
There's a couple rules, right? You can't sell by the slice. It's got to be thin and well done.
And well done means
charred.
Charred.
Some people call it burnt in Minnesota. We call it charred here.
If the undercarriage is charred.
The undercarriage is charred, but it's more the crust that has the char.
Crust, yeah.
And if you look at our pizzas, a little bit of tomato sauce might get up on the crust a little bit and char up, kind of like when you're making a demi.
Yep.
You would bake the tomato paste on the bones to give you this umami bomb. And so, we bring our pizzas to the edge. Sometimes they might be a little overdone, and I'll be the first to admit that, but we are going for specific things. So
that's Joshua Hedquist, OG ZAZA. They're in Shakopee. They're in Roseville. They're in St. Paul. And they're in a pizza trailer as well outside a brewery on Hennepin. Check out the podcast. We would really appreciate it if you enjoy fascinating people, an incredible life story, lots of lessons in there from Josh Hedquist, OG ZAZA. But just search DeRusha Eats, little podcast that we do in our in our spare time. Why not? Drive Time with DeRusha. Coming back in just a minute with this question. Would you pay, say, $20 to make a reservation? More Twin Cities restaurants are trying to charge you when you make a reservation. What's that about? Well, it's some of your fault. Maybe you're doing this and you don't even realize how awful it is. I'll talk about it next.
Jason DeRusha returns shortly with more of Drive Time on News Talk 830 WCCO.
3,000 family farmers. I tell you, when you think about Minnesota pork, you maybe don't think about the family. I tell you, the first time I talked to the pork board and they said, it's like 3,000 farms, all run by families. I was like, whoa. If you go to mnpork.com, man, right now they're really telling some of the great stories, the great family farmers. I want to highlight Dave and Tracy Mensing, who are pig farmers right near Preston, Minnesota. They were just named the 2025 Minnesota Pork Board Environmental Stewards of the Year. And I bring this up because these family farmers are so concerned about the next generation. Dave grew up raising pigs on a family farm. He got things started by buying a couple of pigs from his dad when he was a high school kid. So he goes to U of M in Waseca, starts his own farm. And now he is really all about sustainability. They've got corn that feeds the pigs. So they're growing corn. The pigs make manure, and then the manure goes back in to grow the corn. It's a commitment to sustainability, and they're taking care of the earth, taking care of the water, and taking care of those animals. So feel good when you go to your grocery store, your butcher shop, and say, let's do it. Let's have Minnesota pork for dinner tonight.
At the University of Minnesota, our goal is to make sure what happens in Minnesota doesn't stay in Minnesota, because the discoveries we're making have implications for the health of the world. From the cancer-detecting AI model we built in Rochester, to how we're redefining mental health in Morris, to breakthroughs we're making in Crookston, Duluth, and the Twin Cities. Our discoveries start here, but they make the world healthier everywhere. The University of Minnesota, driven to discover.
What if your limited inventory had unlimited potential? What if your biggest risk was not taking one? What if you could make every move matter? Bank of America's business solutions can help bring your biggest what-ifs within reach. Find out how our digital tools, cutting-edge insights, and trusted expertise can work for your business. What would you like the power to do? Visit bankofamerica.com/banking for business to learn more. Bank of America is proud to be the official bank sponsor of FIFA World Cup 2026.
The county just requested more electric charging stations.
Orders have really amped up at Able Electric.
We need 3 more at First in Maine, and we just got another hotel chain.
It's no shock. Able Electric needs able electricians.
Grocery store wants charging stations too.
And fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. Put our matching platform to work so you can spend less time searching and more time connecting with talented candidates. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Happy birthday to us. 2 surprises for you. 2 surprises from NordVPN. 2 surprises for you.
Celebrate twice as much with NordVPN. We have a special birthday deal. Get 72% off and a coupon for up to 1 year free. NordVPN is rated as excellent on PC Mag. Visit NordVPN.com and discover one of the most advanced VPNs in the world. What are the benefits? Secure up to 10 devices with a single account. Receive alerts if your email address leaks to the dark web. Reduce the risk of phishing, scams, and malware with NordVPN's Threat Protection Pro tool. Encrypt your online traffic and browse with more peace of mind. Get the special birthday deal at NordVPN.com. Additional terms apply. NordVPN, cybersecurity built for every day.
Now on CCO, let's do traffic and weather together. First, a check of the drive and what shape the roads are in.
Slowdowns across pretty much the entire system. Get ready for it. 694 jammed up pretty much both directions between Lexington and 252. 10 westbound jamming up at Hanson. 94 westbound slowing Hemlock Lane to Beaver Lake Road. 35 east southbound slow out of St. Paul heading down to the River Bridge. Trey Peterson, News Talk 830 WCCO.
Jordana Green here. I pray you and your family are always safe. But if there's ever a time where you need an advocate after an accident, let Mike Bryant of Bradshaw and Bryant help you. He will work with and for you in dealing with the insurance company. Call 800-770-7008 today. Bradshaw and Bryant, seeking justice for the injured.
Forecast time with an update on current conditions and a quick look at what's ahead the next few days.
All right, the weather is brought to you by Bradshaw and Bryant at MinnesotaPersonalInjury.com. It's cold. It's going to be cold tonight again, low of 0. Tomorrow, snow. Afternoon and early evening commute could be challenging. It's going to be slow, 1 to 3 inches, 2 to 4 in Wisconsin, high of 24, and then Saturday, high of 28. 22. It'll be real cold next week, too. That next cold blast starts when we go to Florida. Oh, golly. Right now in downtown Minneapolis, it's 10 on CCO.
Jason DeRusha.
Someone says, this guy has no idea how cringe he is. And I would just like to say, I'm well aware. I am extremely cringe. I get it. I don't care.
On News Talk 830 WCCO.
If you are trying to make a reservation to a restaurant, you're on Resi or Talk or whatever, and it says, I need your credit card. We're going to put a $25 hold on it. What do? In bigger cities, this has been a thing for a long time. You make a reservation, you put down a deposit. Usually if you cancel within a day, it's fine. They don't charge your credit card. If you show up, you get that money as a credit. You're not buying a reservation. It's a deposit. But if you don't show up, they charge you. Star Tribune reporting this week on the increase in Twin Cities restaurants that are doing this now, where they're saying, like, you know what? We have to do this because so many people are not showing up. You make a reservation, you don't show up. And I'll tell you what, some of the biggest days for this nonsense, the biggest days are days like tomorrow, Valentine's Day. Because some Rico Suave guy wants to book 3 places and then make a last-minute decision, and you just don't show. And I know, you know, you're thinking, well, how do you make 3 reservations at the same time? Well, you do one on Talk, one on Resi, one on Open Table, or you have 3 emails and you log in and make different email. The reality is when you don't show, the restaurant can't sell that seat and they lose money. Also, every time I have to put down a deposit, it makes me nervous. It makes me nervous. So I don't know. Like, what do you do? Would you guys do that? For a super in demand place that's a tough reservation, I suppose I would do that. I would be like, fine. Like, I know. You know what people could just do? Just stop being so rude. Like, if you don't, you can't make it to a doctor's appointment, do you just no-show? No, you call and you cancel. Well, maybe these same people no-show the doctor. But you don't want to tick off the doctor. Next time you're in, they take that mallet to check your reflexes, and you never know where they're going to pound you. Don't be jerks. It's not that difficult. Don't be a jerk. Go show up or cancel. It's okay. Life happens. Things happen. You can cancel. People are so rude, and now you got to put your credit card down for it's annoying. It's all because these online reservations, you don't talk to a person, so you don't feel like such a jerk.
Nobody wants to wait around forever for their home to sell. It's tough. A lot of people feel like if they accept an offer too quickly, though, that they're probably leaving money on the table. Hey, it's Vanita. Just call my friend, the good neighbor agent, John Schuster of the John Schuster Group, Coldwell Banker Realty. Brenda just worked with John to sell her townhome. Someone who she really trusted made the referral, and Brenda learned she can trust that person even more because of how great John was. He fired up his marketing system. It reaches thousands of potential home buyers every single day. It took him less than 72 hours to get a handful of offers and found a buyer. Now she's one of his more than 5,000 satisfied customers. Contact John for full details, 952-222-9000, online, johnschustergroup.com.
Buy a home, sell a home, we'll get you moving, johnschustergroup.com.
Terms and conditions may apply.
When you're hiring, have you ever felt like you're missing out on meeting truly great candidates for your roles? It seems impossible to find them, but they have to be out there somewhere, right? Well, they're not hard to find when you know where to go, and that place is ZipRecruiter. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter helps 10 million people with their job search every day. And because these people are actively looking for jobs just like yours, it's easy to find the right person right away. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. But if you're not using ZipRecruiter, you're missing out. So see what it's like when the impossible is easy. When you go to ZipRecruiter.com/free right now to try ZipRecruiter for free. Once again, that's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free. Never miss out on great candidates with ZipRecruiter.
The latest breaking news and the most compelling commentary. Heard here. News Talk 830 WCCO 1029 HD2 Minneapolis, St. Paul.
This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by O'Reilly Auto Parts.
I'm Cammie McCormick. President Trump has signed an executive order slapping reciprocal trade tariffs on products from any nation that imposes tariffs on U.S. goods. Linda Kenyon has the story.
The president says this will level the playing field for those nations, he says, that have treated the U.S. unfairly.
If they have a tariff and then they complain that this is too high, all they have to do is reduce their tariff or not charge it.
But the tariffs don't kick in right away. Mark Hamrick with Bankrate.com says there's probably a reason for that.
This is merely a prelude to bilateral trade negotiations with the affected countries.
Adding it's too soon to talk about the impact tariffs will have on inflation. Linda Kenyon, CBS News, the White House.
Robert F. Kennedy Jr. was sworn in today as the Health and Human Services Secretary.
Congratulations, Mr. Secretary.
Kennedy praised President Trump and suggested many health institutions should meet the same fate as USAID, which Trump has targeted with cuts.
He stood up to it with a masterstroke. And we want to do the same thing with the institutions that are stealing the health of our children.
Kash Patel's nomination to be FBI director advanced in the Senate today. The White House says 75,000 federal workers took its buyout offer, but the fate of many more remains up in the air. Here's correspondent Ed O'Keefe.
The Trump administration has warned those millions of federal employees who didn't take the offer that they aren't guaranteed a job. And last night, for example, CBS News confirmed mass firings have begun at the Education Department, where some who were hired most recently were sent letters informing them they've been fired from their job, effective immediately.
Manhattan U.S. Attorney Danielle Sassoon has resigned along with 2 Justice Department officials over the order to drop corruption charges against Mayor Eric Adams. Legal analyst Lori Levinson.
She is somebody who comes with unimpeachable conservative credentials. She clerked for Antonin Scalia on the Supreme Court. She's an influential conservative and member of the Federalist Society. But she was asked to do something that personally she and the people she worked with thought was improper.
The Deputy Attorney General argued Adams' prosecution interfered with the Trump administration's immigration crackdown. In California, heavy rain is raising concerns about mudslides after the wildfires there.
They provided sandbags for folks, so we got a couple out here. And, you know, if the muds come down heavy, I don't think it's going to stop it, but we're trying to do what we can.
In Oregon, whiteout conditions caused a massive pileup. Officials now say the number of vehicles involved is about 30, down from the original 100. This is CBS News.
Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all your car care needs. Get the parts and service you need fast from the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Now from Minnesota's radio station, let's get you caught up with Minnesota's latest headlines and biggest stories on News Talk 830 WCCO.
Clear skies, 9 degrees at 5:03. I'm Laura Oakes. Potential candidates for Tina Smith's U.S. Senate seat have been quick to surface in the wake of her announcement earlier today that she will not be seeking re-election. Smith says it's a personal decision, not motivated by politics. The KSTP TV political reporter and WCCO radio host Tom Hauser says polling may show otherwise.
Tina Smith has a problem in that her number of people who have no opinion of her is alarmingly large for someone who's been in office since 2018.
Hauser telling WCCO's Chad Hartman he believes there's a better than 50-50 chance both Governor Tim Walz and Lieutenant Governor Peggy Flanagan will run for Smith's seat. Flanagan has already announced her intention to do so, and a handful of others are also said to be interested. Senator Smith will join Vanita Sakar on the WCCO Morning News tomorrow morning at 8:48. Small businesses at 50th and Penn in southwest Minneapolis are dealing with an expensive mess after a water main burst overnight.
It happened early this morning, displacing residents, damaging properties, and temporarily closing a handful of businesses. But one among them is still open, the Scuba Center located along Penn Avenue. Owner Larry Freeman.
Our entire basement had like just about 4 feet of water in it, so all of our merchandise in the basement is destroyed. And so it's we're just getting it cleaned up now.
So far, it's unclear how long that cleanup will take. He says the best way to help the affected businesses is by visiting them once they reopen, particularly the Lake Harriet Florist, which he says was set to go into their busiest time of year this Valentine's Day weekend. In Minneapolis, I'm Taylor Rivera, News Talk 830. WCCO.
And
it's Laura, I hadn't considered the florist over there.
That's heartbreaking.
And they're so nice. Like, I bought from them before. They're terrific people.
Yeah,
just sad. Like, and why did it take so dang long to turn the water
That is
off?
not yet clear. That's what I was just going to say. The water was gushing for 4 hours before they were able to actually turn it off. It was reported around 3:30 this morning.
That's. I mean, I get it. It's the middle of the night, but come on,
right?
We can. There better be a good explanation. Put it that way.
We are awaiting word. In other news, a Minneapolis City Council proposal to transfer the city's violence interrupter program to Hennepin County has been indefinitely postponed now. This comes after a heated debate over the program's funding today. Councilmember Robin Wansley withdrew the original proposal, but not before expressing her distrust in the city's Department of Neighborhood Safety.
Do you truly feel confident that this city, this department can actually effectively run these programs and keep our residents safe? I will be expecting NSD leadership to make presentations on their plans to run these programs and to basically do your work.
For now, the city will remain in charge of the program that targets youth and gang violence. It's that February milestone baseball fans look forward to each year. Minnesota Twins pitchers and catchers reporting to spring training in Fort Myers, Florida. Twins president of baseball operations, Derek Falvey, says he's looking for depth when it comes to this year's roster and likes what he sees when it comes to the club's pitching staff.
We feel like we deepened a bullpen group by adding Danny Coulomb to it. But with Joanne Duran and Griffin Jacks, the emergence last year of Cole Sands, I feel good about where that back end is. And then on the starting side, Pablo Lopez, Joe Ryan, and Bailey Ober have really anchored, the top three spots for the last few years, and I think have emerged, each of them, as guys who can pitch in meaningful games.
The first Twins spring training game is a week from Saturday against the Braves, and that game will air right here on WCCO Radio. And WCCO News Time is 5:07.
Now on CCO, let's do traffic and weather together. First, a check of the drive and what shape the roads are in.
Slowdowns place along Highway 36, both directions between Dale and 35W. West 94 jammed up into downtown Minneapolis. Sundown slow up there as Midway past Snelling Avenue. If you're jogging along the stretch of 494 eastbound, that's jammed up. East Bush Lake Road heading over to Cedar. Up on the north side, 610 eastbound is Midway past 252. Getting rid of a possible crash. It's slow in both directions. Jerry Peterson, News Talk 830 WCCO.
What's your love language? Whatever it is, Mini Leaf has your perfect Valentine's Day gift. You can give the gift of being pain-free and have better sleep and a whole lot of fun. Check out minileaf.com, MINNELEAF.com.
Forecast time with an update on current conditions and a quick look at what's ahead the next few days.
And it's brought to you by Mini Leaf, the home of Minnesota's best legal products. Find them at minileaf.com. Here's WCCO TV Chief Meteorologist Chris Schaefer.
We have a brief warm-up on the way, but it comes at a cost. Clouds increase tonight, falling back to zero. Light snow should start falling by afternoon. We could see 1 to 3 inches of the Twin Cities, better chance of 2 to 4 as you hop across the St. Croix into western Wisconsin. 24 the afternoon high. However, the wind will pick up from the southeast, making it feel cooler. Cloudy and 22 Saturday, back to the single digits for highs Sunday through next week.
Clear skies right now, 9 degrees at News Talk 830 WCCO.
Updates in real time at the top of every hour. News Talk 830 WCCO. No suit, no tie. Just DeRusha. It's Drive Time. Live from the WCCO studios, high atop the Odyssey Tower.
You're watching the cool brainwashing 12-year-old and younger station that hides behind a slick image. We're so cool that we decide what's cool. And now, here's your host,
Jason DeRusha.
Oh, just really feel sorry for that Southwest Minneapolis neighborhood, that water main break. Those pictures were dramatic. If you woke up this morning and thought that would be the biggest story of the day, you were not ready for what happened in the middle of the morning. News breaking that is making national news. It is also where we begin the DeRusha Hour News headlines with the lead. Minnesota Democratic Senator Tina Smith announces that she is not running for re-election in 2026. It opens a seat, and it has opened an unbelievable scramble for a chance to run for that office. Let's go live to our political analyst and our friend, Abu Amara, who is a DFL consultant and a lawyer, and he joins us on the John Schuster Coldwell Banker Hotline. Abu, was this a surprise in the Democratic Party?
I will say for many, it was a surprise. She had said just months ago that she was running. Obviously, that's no longer the case. And so I think some people were prepared for this, but most, I think, did not see this coming.
And when you say some people are prepared, it is impossible to me to think that Lieutenant Governor Peggy Flanagan did not have a heads up on this, because she announced that she was running, within 45 minutes or so of when Tina Smith put out her video and her announcement?
Yeah, it's pretty clear from an infrastructure standpoint, from a communication standpoint, that she was ready to go as soon as this announcement was made. So I suspect there may have been conversations happening earlier this morning.
So what does this tell us about the drama between Governor Tim Walz and Lieutenant Governor Peggy Flanagan? Because a number of national media sources have been reporting that Governor Walz himself is considering running for this job.
Yeah, well, I would be a little tepid there. I think what it tells you is politicians look for opportunity. And it is rare that a Senate seat is open in Minnesota. This happens on average about once a decade or so. And so when these opportunities present themselves, politicians have to be ready to go. And so I don't think it's so much about between Governor Walz and Lieutenant Governor Flanagan. It's an opportunity to serve in a unique way, and a lot of politicians are going to want to do.
Are those two going to really run against each other, or do you think they'll work this out where maybe Peggy Flanagan runs for governor and Tim Walz runs for Senate? What do you really think is going to happen here?
Yeah, I do think people want to signal that they're interested, but I do think over the next couple of weeks or so, there's going to be behind the room conversations happening, because who gets in the race is going to determine whether you even have a path to win or not. And so there'll be a lot of conversations with a lot of folks. Some will step aside, some will stay where they are, and others will jump in this race, and that'll sort itself out.
Are you running?
I am not going to be running. It's weird. I got a lot of calls this morning, which I was like shocked by. I'm thinking there's so many other people, but I shall not seek and I will not serve.
I think you'd be pretty good. I'd vote for you. I think you'd be a great candidate.
Well, I appreciate that. You can write me in November 26th.
I have not, you're not going to believe it, but I have not been getting a lot of calls asking me if I'm going to run. I don't know. Are you surprised by that? It's a little, I'm hurt. How come no one's called me to ask if I would run? Are there people out there that you think we should look for, whether it's names on the Democratic side or names on the Republican side, that you think would be intriguing?
Yeah, on the Democratic side, I think the Democrats have an embarrassment of riches. Angie Craig, the governor, the lieutenant governor, the mayors of the big cities, although Melvin said he's not running. On the Republican side, I think they're going to have to find somebody who has instant money and name ID, somebody who potentially could reach out in the suburbs. Watch for a name like Michelle Tafoya, the former NFL announcer. I think she's somebody that Republicans want to run. And Kendall Qualls, a guy who comes from as a healthcare executive, has access to resources. I expect those names to float to the top.
And he said that he's going to run for governor, but all bets are off now with this situation, right?
They're 100% off. And this actually happened in Michigan just a couple weeks ago, that people announced that they were running for governor in Michigan, And the Senate seat opened up by the retirement of Gary Peters in Michigan. And all of a sudden, the deck is shifting and people are kind of jumping in different races. And so I think Minnesota, the same thing's going to happen here.
Which gig is better? Which job is better? I don't know.
Well, I think it depends on your style and your personality. If you're someone who really wants to get things done, not have to sit in committees and debate things with 19 different people, it's probably governor. But if you're a collaborative person who really likes the exchange of ideas and you like Washington, D.C., it's going to be that Senate seat. So it really comes down to who you are as a person.
That's why no one's been calling me, because they're like, DeRusha's more governor material than Senate.
DeRusha, you got the top radio show. They figured they couldn't get you anyway.
The pay cut. We're leaving AM radio. Like, I can't take the pay cut. This is where the money's at, Abu.
There you go.
Very good. Good stuff. Thanks, Abu. We appreciate it. Abu Amara, political analyst. He's the best. With us here on CCO. Time to zoom on over to story number 2 in the lead. And this one really got my attention today. State senator wants to ban new billboards. State Senator John Marty, Democrat from Roseville, is with us on the John Schuster Coldwell Banker Hotline. All right, John, what is it about billboards that made you say we got to put a stop to this?
Sure, Jason. I think we've got enough billboards in Minnesota. If you look at all the state puts a lot of effort into advertising, marketing Minnesota as a tourism destination. I've done this for years. You look at all the publications we send out, all the online marketing, all the TV commercials. You see beautiful pictures of the Minnesota Northwoods. You see beautiful pictures of the gleaming Twin Cities skyline. You don't see a single billboard in any of them. And you fly into Minneapolis because you saw one of those great ads, and you can see the skyline in the background, but you got to look between all the billboards you see when you leave the airport. When you're heading up north, any of the roads up north, you're going to see a billboard before you can get to see the lakes and everything. But to me, it's a matter of truth in advertising. And frankly, 4 of the states, there are only 4 states that have banned billboards. They're all tourism states: Alaska, Hawaii, Vermont, and Maine. And to me, you don't notice there aren't billboards there. You just notice it's a beautiful state. So we got a beautiful state too. So I think we should go the same direction.
I don't think anyone really thinks that 494 from the airport to downtown is going to be more beautiful if you clear out the billboards there. And you're not proposing getting rid of what we already have.
Right.
You're just proposing no new. I will give one scenario where I do think billboards do enhance the surrounding, and that is in the urban core. If you look at the area by First Avenue and Target Center, those digital billboards, they do, to me, give life, give energy, gives that big city vibe. Would this bill that you're proposing, would that sort of put a halt on that?
It would stop putting new ones in. And frankly, anywhere you look, billboards, the communities that are struggling most with blight and everything else, those tend to be the communities where have more billboards too. There is, anytime you look anywhere in the country, more billboards tends to make a community's property values and everything go down. And frankly,
but shouldn't just cities decide? Shouldn't cities decide what they want to do? Why should the state government get involved in that?
I'm just saying that I think we ought to be recognizing we've got a beautiful state and it is cluttered up. I'm sorry, but I think if you want to look at, I think you get rid of billboards when you leave the airport, and you'll see the cities. The cities are more beautiful.
I mean, it's home furniture on the side of the highway, John. Yeah. It's not that pretty. You know what I mean? Like 490, right. We got some car dealers.
I'm not saying it's pretty, right? I'm not saying car dealerships are beautiful and so on. That's part of business and so on. But we don't need them elsewhere, and we've got enough. I think if you ask people, and frankly, if you look at how it's gone, in other words, in Alaska, which is probably more conservative voters in Minnesota, but they banned them by voter initiative in 1998. 72% of the voters said no. They get rid of the billboards. So that's how they got rid of them. To me, I don't know if it'd be 72% here or 82%, but it'd be significant in Minnesota. People who think we've got enough billboards and we're not getting rid of what we got. We're simply making it so local governments would have the ability to get rid of them. It's been changing. I mean, there's a guy named a city council member in Eagan in 1990. A colleague of mine sent me a newspaper clipping of him. A guy named Tim Pawlenty, when he was a first-term member of the Eagan City Council, said, these billboards are blight. There's too many of them. We should get rid of them. And Tim Pawlenty went on to other things along the way. But frankly, billboards, they keep coming more and more, and they don't make things better. The industry.
Be honest though, on the scheme of problems, like this one's pretty low. This one's pretty low.
Right. I'm not saying this is the.
You're doing
biggest
other
problem
things
facing
at the
our
Senate.
society.
Yeah,
Absolutely,
yeah.
absolutely. We're doing lots.
I just want to get in front of everybody who's like, is this is all we got going on? Like, no.
No. This is just one thing that, frankly, is an environmental issue: the light pollution and so on. And I've talked to people who have condos. They buy into a condo, and a few months later, somebody puts a big electronic billboard. It lights up their window at night, and maybe they don't want it, but we don't have any choice. Unlike other advertising, if somebody advertises on WCCO, you guys provide the audience for them. If you advertise in TV or newspaper or something, the publication or broadcast network, they're the ones providing the audience. Who pays for the audience? In this case, the taxpayers. We build the roads. We're providing the audience, and frankly, I would argue, and I think most Minnesotans would say, our state would be more beautiful if we didn't have more billboards.
All right. John Marty with us, state senator. I appreciate it. There it is.
Good to talk to you, Jason. Have a great day.
Appreciate your time. Thank you. Weigh in as always. You can reach out on social media. We're streaming live on YouTube on the WCCO radio channel. And you can always send us a text message or a voice message if you're listening on the Odyssey app. Our phone number is 651-461-9226. DeRusha Hour News Headlines continues with page 2, where we'll introduce you to an honest-to-goodness jukebox hero. And students. Do students want their colleges making political statements? Interesting. New info for the Minnesota Daily coming up.
Drive Time with DeRusha is hitting the off-ramp for a quick stop on News Talk 830 WCCO.
What I heard in that last segment is more people need to be advertising on the radio. That's what I took away. And I'm glad that already we've got the support of my friends at Tureen Dermatology. It's Jason here for the best dermatologists, the best people. You are going to love Dr. Mohiba Tureen. You're going to love her team. And I just want you to take care of your skin. This is serious stuff. And already there have been dozens of CCO listeners who have gone to Tureen Dermatology. And I know of at least 3 who have, well, there are more than dozens who have gone to Tureen, but I know of at least 3 who have gone for a full body skin checkup and cancer was found. So this is serious stuff. And by getting to Tureen Dermatology, you can get out in front of it. Get the full body skin checkup. You deserve healthy skin. You deserve to take care of yourself. And there's nobody better than Tureen Dermatology. They have 7 locations. Why is that good for you? Well, there's one close to you, and they'll get you in within 3 weeks. I'm not kidding. You go to TureenDermatology.com, TAREEN dermatology.com. Schedule your appointment. Do it today, and you can get in within 3 weeks.
At the University of Minnesota, our goal is to make sure what happens in Minnesota doesn't stay in Minnesota, because the discoveries we're making have implications for the health of the world. From the cancer-detecting AI model we built in Rochester, to how we're redefining mental health in Morris, to breakthroughs we're making in Crookston, Duluth, and the Twin Cities. Our discoveries start here, but they make the world healthier everywhere. The University of Minnesota, driven to discover.
Paid for by government. Throughout the history of America's Silver Eagle coin series, there's never been a mint state coin struck with a special privy mark. Until now. That's right. The world's most popular silver bullion coin has just been struck with a special star privy mark. Silver Eagles are the best-selling silver coin since first being introduced by the U.S. Mint in 1986. This is an amazing and historic event, but you must hurry. A strict limited edition mintage has been set, and once they are gone, they are gone. These first ever Silver Eagles are brand new legal tender coins minted in 99.9% pure silver by the Philadelphia Mint. For a limited time radio offer, save $5 off every coin. Just call 1-800-473-3993 to secure the first ever star privy marked Mint State Silver Eagle coin. Plus receive free shipping, but you must call now. Call 1-800-473-3993 now to secure this first ever Silver Eagle. That's 1-800-473-3993.
This is Drive Time with DeRusha on News Talk 830 WCCO.
DeRusha Hour News Headlines, page 2. And let's start with something that just warmed my heart when I read this story today about Dan Coulter, a Jukebox Hero. It's such a great profile in the Minnesota Star Tribune. Dan Coulter was just 12 when he bought his first jukebox. He's from Bloomington. He wasn't real good at the school stuff, but he liked music. He was good with his hands. He heard a friend at a busted jukebox sitting in his family's basement. He bought it for $25. Now, Dan is not a young man. He still remembers the first song it played when he fixed that jukebox. He dropped in a quarter and Rosemary Clooney began to sing Come Out of My House. He sold the jukebox to an antique store, and with the money, he bought two more. And that began a 50-year career of buying, selling, fixing, and operating jukeboxes. He's just 62. He owns Vintage Game Room, which is in Newport, southeastern suburb, pretty close to the river. One of the few places in the country that fixes jukebox. Now, this past weekend, I was at Allery's Bar in St. Paul, where they have a jukebox, but it's the Touch Tunes variety. It's got no soul. It's got no heart. I mean, Did It, Crank, Britney Spears' Toxic by my request using an app. You better believe it did. I was fascinated to learn that Coulter has, a couple of commercial clients who are running old school jukeboxes, but most of his customers are collectors who want a vintage jukebox in their house. I think that's so cool. Do you remember the magic? The first time when you saw a jukebox and you're like, I can put in a quarter and it'll play anything I want. Some breaking news, Dan? Do we have breaking news in?
No, we don't have breaking news. I was trying to do this.
Oh, very, very nice. Toxic. This is my wedding song. When this comes out at a wedding, clear the dance floor. Everybody gather around in a circle. Can you get that on a 45 and play it jukebox style? Probably. The article said that Dan Coulter has in a closet, he's got about 1,045. So if you've got a broken jukebox and you're like, where am I supposed to get some records? He's like, hey, I'll just pull out of my closet. Hobbyists are so weird and so magical, and I just love everything about it. I love it. Students do not want their colleges making political statements.
Justice! Now! Justice! Now!
It's 2025. Couldn't we come up with a new chant for the protest, don't you think? What do we want? Insert word. When do we want it? Now! Well, what do students want, according to Maddie Like in the Minnesota Daily? What they want is their schools to kind of zip it. Well, at least 54%. Inside Higher Ed found that 54% disapprove of political statements for the universities they attend, especially after major political events like President Donald Trump's inauguration. They don't want that email from the administration saying, we understand for some of you, these may be challenging times. So do students want their institution to be neutral, or do students not really care what administrators have to say? The answer is yes. Clara Juneman, the vice president of undergraduate student government at the University of Minnesota, said often students feel disconnected from campus administration. There's a disconnect between what is said in the professional communications and what actually is happening on the ground at the university. The quote is, I think, actually pretty smart from Clara, saying that a lot of times emails from the administration feel performative, like they're doing it not necessarily to connect with students, but because they feel like, we gotta do this. Who do we blame for the real estate issues in St. Paul right now? Is it rent control, or is it the broader interest rate environment? Either way, this conflict has caused the hammers to stop at the Ford site. Fred Mello reporting in the Pioneer Press that the developer Ryan Companies, which is developing that whole Ford Parkway site, they want to build 4 one-story buildings. One critic says it feels like a kind of crappy strip mall. when they have this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to develop this huge place. The master plan envisioned 4 stories at least, mixed use or commercial buildings. But the reality is 0 new apartment buildings are going up in St. Paul. The zoning board said, no, you can't put up 1-story building. So they have appealed to the full council saying, look, no one's going to get financing for larger buildings right now because of interest rates. It's been slow go to see how long it's taken for the Ford Motor Company assembly plant in Highland Park to be developed. There are hundreds of housing units. There are commercial offices. There's that Lunds and Byerly's over there. But nobody's building a 4-story building. It's not happening. So is it better to get the 1-story building or is it better to have nothing until maybe the interest rate climate changes? That is the question that the city council will face. That is the DeRusha Hour news headlines. We are going to break in minutes. Tracy Perlman joins us. Her segments have been lighting the internet on fire. The segment about jeans. We had another, I don't even remember what the other hot topic was, but the segment on, what was the other one about children? Oh, yeah, if you should have kids because your parents wanted to be grandkids. So what is Tracy going to say next? We'll talk about Love is Blind, and we'll talk about Valentine's. Pro or con? Where are you at? We'll get into it coming back here on CCO.
We need a quick pit stop. Then Jason DeRusha continues on News Talk 830 WCCO.
Well, who the hell are you?
You know. You all know exactly who I am. Say my name.
Do what? I don't have a clue who you are.
Yeah, you do.
You're just some radio station.
You sure? Now, say my name.
News Talk 830 WCCO.
You're damn right.
We're pretty skilled at both breaking bad and making good. News Talk 830 WCCO.
I'm Karen Heintz with Baird Private Wealth Management. At Baird, investing and financial planning are just part of the solution. Just as important is our personal commitment to your success. Meeting with you, answering your questions, working with your tax and legal advisors, so you can see your complete financial picture come together. Focused on you, no matter what. That's how Baird's been doing business for more than 100 years. Discover the Baird difference. Visit BairdTwinCities.com.
You know, we've all gotten unsolicited cash offers for our homes. I get it. It can make moving less stressful. But if you go that route, there's a good chance you'll be leaving money on the table. Hey, it's Vanita. If you're thinking of selling and don't want the stress, call my buddy, the good neighbor agent, John Schuster of the John Schuster Group Coldwell Banker Realty. Corinne just worked with John to sell a loved one's home. She wanted the convenience and she got it. John helped her. His marketing system helped get multiple offers for Corinne's home. All the attention led to her home selling for $30,000 over the asking, $75,000 more than that below market investor cash offer she originally got. Contact John for full details, 952-222-9000, online, johnschustergroup.com.
Buy a home, sell a home, we'll get you moving, johnschustergroup.com.
Terms and conditions may apply.
You can do this. Why? Because no one cares more about your money than you. Right now, many have concerns about their retirement, their investments. Are these mutual funds a poor investment? Did you know that with the average fees of 2%, you could be missing out on upwards of half of your potential retirement dollars? That's pretty high for management, especially when 75% of these funds underperform the market. At Trading Academy, our mission is to empower you to take control of your investments. Text investing to 210-210. Take control of your financial future. Maybe it's to just have a better conversation with your broker. Sign up for a free investing class, local classrooms, one-on-one mentoring, how to protect your investments against inflation. Text investing to 210-210 or go to learnwithota.com. HIMS.com.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, let's talk ED because millions of men experience it, but not everyone can access or afford treatments like Viagra. Well, HIMS can help. Through HIMS.com, you can get a full range of treatment options for ED, including daily or as-needed meds through a 100% online process. It all starts with an online intake form. Get started at HIMS.com/joy, and from there, a medical provider licensed in your state will determine if ED treatment is right for you. If prescribed, your medication is shipped to you for free. Find the ED treatment that fits your needs with options up to 95% less than the brand names. Millions of men experience ED, but HIMS can help. To start your free online visit and save up to 95%, go to HIMS.com/joy. That's HIMS.com/joy for your free online visit. HIMS.com/JOY.
Now on CCO, let's do traffic and weather together. First, a check of the drive and what shape the roads are in.
Brought to you by Whole Foods Market, shop and store online, West 694, jammed up. Silver Lake Road over to Highway 252. You can find it to be slow on the eastbound side between Highway 100 and Central. 390 eastbound plugged up as you come in from Highway 100 into Minneapolis. So over on the east side, things running smoothly for East 94. Speeds at the posted right out of downtown St. Paul to the border. Celebrate Valentine's Day at Whole Foods Market. Prime members get 24 stem bunch of roses for $24.99 each from February 10th through the 14th. What a better way to say I love you. All supplies last, shop and store online, terms apply. Joey Peterson, News Talk 830 WCCO.
Jason DeRusha here. The Canopy Group represents 16 different insurance companies, not just one. They give you options. Each year, they'll review your program so you don't have to, making sure you get the best coverage at the best price. Do like I did. Go to thecanopygroup.com.
Forecast time with an update on current conditions and a quick look at what's ahead the next few days.
Weather brought to you by the Canopy Group. Here is WCCO TV Chief Meteorologist Chris Schaefer.
Finally, some snow to talk about. It doesn't happen tonight. The clouds will increase as we fall back to zero. Your morning commute tomorrow, no problem. Your drive home tomorrow night, problem, because the light snow will be falling by afternoon. I think we see 1 to 3 inches. That snow likely lingers right through the evening. Better chance of 2 to 4 inches as you head into Wisconsin. 24 the afternoon high, 22 on Saturday. The next cold snap arrives on Sunday.
9 degrees in Brooklyn Park here on CCO.
This is Drive Time with DeRusha.
Even now, when you hear him,
He's fine now.
he's grown on me as far as being an announcer. I
He's
feel
getting better because when he first started, I was like,
like, ooh, it's rough.
On News Talk 830 WCCO.
It's Galentine. Is today Galentine's Day? Tracy Perlman is with us, executive producer over at WCCO TV, longtime friend of mine, and now a weekly contributor here on the show on Thursdays. Galentine's today?
It's either today or it's the 15th.
Or Saturday. Or it's
whenever
you
every
want.
day. We love it.
Galentine's Day. You are a single lady.
I am a single lady.
Where do you come down on Galentine's Day? Just getting together with your gals?
Do we have to name it? Can't I just hang out with friends? Isn't every day Galentine's Day?
This is the same as people who are not mothers who want to be celebrated on Mother's Day. Valentine's is a day for your Valentine, which doesn't have to be romantic, but it is mostly romantic.
Yes. I like to argue on Mother's Day, I should be celebrated as the oldest. I made my mother a mother. You're welcome, Lisa.
Why not? Yeah. It is actually, now that you mention that, isn't it weird that we get presents for our birthday when all we did was show up?
Yeah.
Like, what did we really do on our birthday?
I make everyone.
In Mother's Day, we should get the present.
Yeah, I make everyone's great year. A great year. So I should be celebrated on those days. Here's my problem with Galentine's Day. I don't think I need a specific day to hang out with my friends, to, dress in all pink, go out to a bar. Like, we can do that whenever. You should, if you appreciate your friend and you love them, you should just tell them that.
Where are you guys on Galentine's Day? 651-461-9226. A texter saying my wife is meeting up with the gals as I text them.
Yeah.
For
great.
Galentine.
Enjoy your friends. If it brings you happiness, great. For me, I'm going to the Paza Luna pop-up on Saturday, and my friend is calling it a Galentine's dinner.
Oh.
Sure.
So you're going.
We are.
You're
going
a
out.
little bit of a hypocrite on this. You're blasting it, but then you're participating.
She's calling it a Galentine's Day.
Oh,
I was
you're
like,
just
hey, there's a
attending?
reservation on a Saturday night, and guess who's free? Me.
What do you think would happen if? So this is my main issue with this.
Mhm.
Guys, we couldn't do something like this, right?
No, a bros day, like a Tuesday bros day.
Right. It's only guys. And people would say, well, this is exclusionary. Why is it only guys? Like, you can't do that.
Aren't Sundays for the guys? Isn't the
Is
football?
that right? Is that
the football days?
I was
going to
say, isn't that the fantasy football
What is
draft?
the day?
That's yeah.
Yeah. Maybe it is. Maybe it is
Dudes Day. It could be a Tuesday Dudes Day.
I don't know. I feel like guys, like, who's going to stand up for the men in this society if not me?
You're right. It's time that men have their day. They're due. Am I supposed to gift my friend something for Galentine's Day?
Oof.
Or do we just like
I'm
treat
sure
yourself?
I'm sure there are cards for Galentine's Day.
Sure there's certainly memes. I love a meme.
I've gone so if you go to Target and look in the Valentine's Day section, there are Valentines for your romantic partner. There are Valentines for your children. All of these things I think are great.
Yeah.
In fact, I think it's fine, like, to send your grandma a Valentine.
Yeah.
I think that's sweet.
Grandmas never get cards.
But then it gets weird, right? Like, here's Valentines for your pets. And I think at a certain point, you need to, we need to get it together.
Your thought
as a
about
society.
spending money on pets, because you have different views than me on that. We can save that for another.
Yeah,
Thursday.
I do feel like my views on spending money on pets are no longer the mainstream.
No,
I'm the hater,
you hate pets.
which is not
Text
true.
us now.
I get portrayed as a pet hater.
Yeah.
I just don't want pets myself. Most of my friends who get pets, I find it interferes in our time.
And I get that because I literally got one because I am single and I have the time to have a pet.
Now, do you go home early? Like, you're out having dinner and you're like,
No.
Gotta go let the dog out.
I did when she was new.
I think that's
because
allowed,
she couldn't
like
be,
new puppy.
Yeah, but now she can do like 6-7 hours, so it's fine. You just have to plan.
You also were looking, so Galentine's is a no.
I'm
for
not a
you.
fan of Galentine's. Don't call it that.
I think it's fine if you want to go out with your gals.
Yeah, go have a good, fun time with
If
your
you're
girlfriends.
married, should you be participating in Galentine's, or is this just
If you
for
need a break, get out of the house.
Every woman needs a break
Yes.
from their man.
Right. If you need a break
Wow.
from your kids, from your husband, from your boyfriend, yeah, go do it.
I
Go
feel
have
like-
a night out, but it's a night out.
Yeah.
Are you not allowed to go out with your friends on a Saturday in March?
Well, I'm sort of not.
April?
I don't think
You
I'm
go
really.
out a lot.
There was some judgment in that.
Well,
But Alyssa and I go out a lot, and we go out together. So we don't do a ton of stuff separately, which the two of us have sort of a different opinion on whether or not that we should be doing more of that.
Yeah.
But like, she's my best friend, so I hang out with my best
that's what I was
friend.
gonna say. Like, if it works for you guys and you're
Yeah.
doing things that you both like, which
Do you-
you do, then cool.
Could we do Galentine's?
You and me?
No, like me and Alyssa.
Oh, I thought it would be fun if we went out for dinner. I was gonna invite Dan, but okay,
Yeah.
cool. I have a dog to get home to. Don't worry about it. You could go out for Galentine's. I've seen the drinks you post on social.
They are girly.
They are girly.
Tracy Perlman is our guest. That was just like, what an absolutely sexist statement by you to gender a drink like that.
You know what? Yeah.
You can do it now,
was
though.
wrong.
It's Trump's
I can.
America.
I can.
Now you can do whatever you want.
I can do it.
We
'cause
can say whatever we
I'm
want.
the girl.
Valentine's Day, you brought a stat on how
did.
much is spent on Valentine's
Yeah.
Day.
So the National Retail Federation tracks this stuff so that people like us have things to talk
Yes.
about in the media. Consumers plan to spend $188 per person this year. It's up just slightly from last year.
Okay.
And I want to know, what are people spending that $188 per person on? So the top 5 gifts are candy, flowers, greeting cards, an evening out, and jewelry. Jewelry and an evening out, I understand $188.
Yep, for sure.
Easy, especially 2 people or if you're bringing out your whole family. How much money are you spending on candy?
I mean, if you buy like one of those giant heart-shaped things, or maybe you're going to like a fancy, like you're going to Chocolate Celeste.
Artisanal?
Yeah, like her fancy little kind of truffles or something. Or you're going to Patisserie 46.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, like I always get Alyssa some candy.
Mm-hmm. Flowers. You're a good flower picker.
I do. She gets flowers every month from me.
I love that. I do. I think that's sweet.
That's a good one. I was just going to check, like, at Bachman's, like, what does it cost, right? Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
So, oh boy. So, red premium 2 dozen roses. So that's a lot of roses.
Yeah.
$129.
So that's red. Now, obviously, you'd get red because this is the person that you love. If it's a Galentine's, you might go pink or yellow for friendship.
Yeah.
What if you just wanted like a bouquet of assorted flowers?
Yeah, I mean,
like a Trader Joe's bouquet.
Yeah, you could probably, that's what, $20?
$20, maybe 30 if you want to get a nicer one.
It's a lot of money.
Yeah.
I think, and when you get an average, maybe you've got some people who are buying a ring, or doing like really expensive
and
stuff.
some nice jewelry. Listen, if somebody wants to buy me jewelry for Valentine's Day, DMs are open.
How much are you guys spending on Valentine's Day?
And what are you buying? I want to know.
651-461-9226.
And maybe we don't have to say their names if it's going to be a surprise.
Love is Blind, Minneapolis, drops, I think at
midnight.
At midnight tonight.
Yeah.
Tracy and I will talk about that. I sort of can't wait to watch it, but I'm nervous.
I'm excited.
All right. I'll tell you why I'm nervous. Tracy will tell you why she's excited. We'll do that in just a minute here on CCO.
Don't touch that dial. More Drive Time with DeRusha coming up on News Talk 830 WCCO.
All right. Spend all that big money on candy. Spend the money on flowers. And save the money on really making yourself the best version of yourself that you could be. It's Jason here. And this is big. This is big for my friends at Livia Weight Control Centers. I was at a party they had celebrating 15 years. And I got to tell you, I got a little choked up because they were telling all of these personal stories of how many lives they've changed over the last 15 years. More than 1 million pounds they've helped people lose. For me, I'm responsible for 45 of those pounds. I lost 45 pounds 2 years ago, and I was just at the Livia Weight Control Centers in Coon Rapids, and down to the 10th of a pound, I have not gained anything. I am locked in thanks to their help. You can do it too. And they're giving you 50% off. So celebrate 15 years. They are giving you the gift of 50% off Livia's award-winning nutrition program. GLP-1 medication, they've got it, and they've got the most competitive pricing in the market. This offer is not going to be around for a while. I talk about Livia all the time. This is the best offer they have. So get it. Livia.com, Livea.com, or 855-GO-LIVIA.
Hi, Denny Long here. Join us every Saturday for the Home Improvement Show by Lindus Construction. Andy Lindus and I will be taking your home improvement questions both by phone and by text every Saturday morning at 9 o'clock here on News Talk 830 WCCO.
What's your love language? Maybe it's letting your loved one sleep in for a full night's sleep, or giving someone the gift of being pain-free. Whatever it is, Mini Leaf has your perfect Valentine's Day gift. You can give the gift of being pain-free and have better sleep and a whole lot of fun. Check out minileaf.com, MINNELEAF.com. Minileaf is the home of Minnesota's best legal products. I use these products. I would not recommend them to you if I didn't. Mark has used them. We have both experienced the benefits from the Triple Diamond Pain Cream. It's such relief. And also those sleep night gummies, the best night's sleep I have had in a while. No pharmaceuticals needed. Check out the true benefits of CBD. You can see they're 100% natural Mini Leaf's products, and you can look at the studies on the website. Minileaf.com. MINNELEAF. Tell them Jordana sent you.
Mini Leaf means quality. Taste happy at minileaf.com.
The home of Minnesota's best legal products.
When you're hiring, have you ever felt like you're missing out on meeting truly great candidates for your roles? It seems impossible to find them, but they have to be out there somewhere, right? Well, they're not hard to find when you know where to go. and that place is ZipRecruiter. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter helps 10 million people with their job search every day. And because these people are actively looking for jobs just like yours, it's easy to find the right person right away. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. But if you're not using ZipRecruiter, you're missing out. So see what it's like when the impossible is easy. When you go to ZipRecruiter.com/free right now to try ZipRecruiter for free. Once again, that's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free. Never miss out on great candidates with ZipRecruiter.
Now on CCO, let's do traffic and weather together. First, a check of the drive and what shape the roads are in.
Could find a crash working on 494 northbound Bass Lake Road is where you find it. The right lane is affected. It's also blocking the very end of the ramp from Bass Lake Road to North 494, so making for a tight squeeze merging into the traffic there. In the meantime, expect slowdowns approaching Rockford Road. West 94 continues to be a slow spot as you move between Huron Boulevard right now into the Lowry Hill Tunnel. West 694 plugged up Silver Lake Road to Highway 100. Jerry Peterson, News Talk 830 WCCO.
Are you ready to love your water? With Connecticut's on-demand efficiency, you'll enjoy softer skin, cleaner laundry, and dishes that sparkle. Schedule your free water analysis at AquariusHomeservices.com and save up to 25%.
Forecast time with an update on current conditions and a quick look at what's ahead the next few days.
Aquarius Home Services bringing us the weather tonight. Cold again, low of 0 tomorrow. Snow is going to be the story tomorrow afternoon. Commute could be rough. Not a ton of snow, 1 to 3 inches, but enough to mess with your drive. We'll take care of you on your drive home. Tomorrow, high is 24. And then Sunday, another cold blast. It's going to be cold next week. Right now in downtown Minneapolis, it is 8 degrees here on CCO.
Drive Time with DeRusha resumes now on News Talk 830 WCCO.
Tracy Perlman is with us. Her nickname in college was Partray.
Because I threw the parties. I was social chair for my sorority.
So maybe we'll call this, what sorority were you in?
Sigma Delta Tau.
Is sorority life like I imagine it?
Yes. It's exactly what you think it is.
With the pillow fights and all the...
And the sleepovers every night and the matching jammies. Yeah. It's exactly that.
And now it's with dancing, right?
Yeah. There's a lot of dancing during rush week. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of choreographed outfits, matching outfits and choreographed dances.
I did encourage my youngest, Sam, to apply to Alabama.
Yeah.
Based entirely on Bama Rush.
The TikTok dances.
Based on TikTok
I always am impressed.
He was accepted.
Good for him.
Got into Alabama.
The 5 making dad's dreams come true. The 5 girls in front that are really good dancers, and then there's like the 3 in the back. Just
it seems unfair because since when is like being able to dance in a choreographed manner like an important life skill? And today it is.
It is. If you want to, these kids all
you got
grew
the
up.
choreographed wedding. Everything is It's all choreography.
Right. Well, Olivia Rodrigo's making a lot of money.
I don't know back in my day, if you do.
Or Charlie D'Amelio. Who are the TikTokers?
Charlie D'Amelio was one of them. Olivia Rodrigo is a singer. I don't know that she necessarily does the dances.
She's on Broadway right now.
Yeah. We just had the, Alaman left and Grand Right and left and bow to your corner and bow to your partner. That was the only kind of choreographed dancing I needed to know.
That's fun.
Yeah. Square dancing. Do they still teach that in school?
It was in gym class, wasn't it?
Oh,
important skill. We did square dance. I remember a footloose square dance. I also went to school in Kansas, so we did definitely go out to a barn and square dance, and that's not a euphemism. That was a legit square dance.
Really, what you were doing,
yeah.
Tracy? Before the break, we talked a little bit about Love Is Blind, which drops at midnight on Netflix. It features 32 Minneapolis singles.
Yes,
I know one of these guys.
I know one as well.
Who do you know?
Danny.
I know Adam.
Yes. So Danny.
And is Danny a nice guy or not?
It comes from a great family. I don't know him.
So this is my fear. Like Adam, who I know, Adam works at Jackson Gray, the men's clothing store in the North Loop. And he has helped me for a couple years.
Yeah.
I really like him, and I am very fearful that he will be exposed as like a scumbag.
What if he's a douche?
I don't like odds are good he is, right? Like, aren't all of these people horrible,
so
or are some of them good?
Of the 32, if you go on to the Netflix website, they only highlight 8 men and 8 women. So I'm assuming
You're like trying to read the tea leaves.
So I'm assuming that
Those are the
Danny's
ones.
not on that list. So he either didn't find somebody to propose to in 48 hours or however fast you're supposed to do it.
Right.
Adam is on the list. They're listed in alphabetical order, and that he's right there.
All right.
So I'm thinking he either finds somebody. So he could be the sweetheart, or he's the guy who's
There's
about
one
to propose.
person they like, or
Yeah,
I don't
there's
understand
usually
how this
there's
show
usually a hero. Okay, so how it works is these women and men live in separate quarters. They go into these little pods that have like a couch and a table and some activities and lots of liquor, I'm assuming, in their drinks.
Right.
And they start talking. And you have conversations through the wall, and you can like pick and choose dates that way. And the point is to really get to know somebody's personality and not what they look like. Then there's a proposal, and after the proposal, you get to
they're all
see
hot.
each other.
All of these
course.
people are beautiful.
Yes, no one's going to go on a show and be a
Right.
2. So
that
they're
would
all
be
10 and a half.
funnier, right? Like if you have some
Yeah.
straight up uggos in there and maybe you hit it off and now you have to face the fact
Yeah.
that you're a shallow,
Right.
terrible human like all of us
Well,
are.
a lot of them are shallow, terrible humans. No offense to Adam and Danny and the other people. I'm sure there's some
Who
Brads
all
and
come
Chads.
from nice
Yeah.
families, I'm
Right.
sure.
But so then you do this, and then you start to like go on dates, and you do the whole engagement thing. The thing I'm excited about is not the dating process, but it's to just see how boring Minnesotans are when it comes to dating.
Oh. Is this your experience in the dating world?
It's not.
Dan has
There's-
also been out there in the dating world.
There's not fun.
Not-
So everyone here is 26 to 43 years old. So like, oof, I could have done it.
Yeah.
The
The 43-year-old is a
he's
knockout.
old.
Knockout.
Oh, it's a
there's
girl?
an old girl.
I don't know.
There's a
I just
old.
assumed it was the dude.
Says the 50-year-old. They're
So-
all the women are better looking than the men,
Yes.
I think.
So here's what I'm hearing.
Okay.
There are 3 nurses, several former cheerleaders, many world travelers, and just a few self-described Christmas enthusiasts.
Okay.
Like, what kind of trouble and drama are you going to stir up in Minneapolis
So
over the
boring.
summer?
That sounds very snoozy, doesn't it?
I'm just curious to see what the drama is.
Well, according to TikTok, there's some real drama with one of the guys.
Yeah. And they're going to be in the North Loop and Northeast.
Are we just going to lose our mind about like, oh, that's like, I know that place. You know what I mean?
It's
Like,
going to come out. Everyone, yes, that's all going to come
'cause
out.
we
They're going to
love
go to the
seeing
lakes.
Minneapolis.
We're going to see how beautiful the lakes are. We're going to see Lake Minnetonka. We're going to see all that fun stuff. So I think that'll be fun. But
They went to The Grind, a cycling studio. They went to Bryant Lake Bowl. They went to Blackstack Brewing.
yeah, great. Let's go.
Travail. They were at
Mm.
Travail. All of these spots. So I don't know. We love us.
We love us. And you know what? It's time somebody shined a light on the thriving single scene here in the Twin Cities.
All right, you got to watch out. People are already texting asking if you're looking.
I am single.
Yeah, put it out there.
Yeah. That's like I said, I'm free for Valentine's Day and Galentine's.
Well, you're quite tonight is Galentine's.
Tonight, yeah.
Yes. You're busy on the day after. This was
Yeah.
very fun. Thanks for coming in.
Thank you. This is
Next
fun.
week we'll be in Florida.
Am I joining?
Yeah, come on down to spring training. Why
Done.
not? Oh, so fun. Thanks,
do it.
Tracy.
Thank you.
Dan, have a good day off tomorrow. Dan took the day off tomorrow. Rude. I'm working. Who works harder than me?
Retirement will be here before you know it. Get ready by listening to the Retirement Reality Report.